open the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just if anybody's here for Northeast Foods, that's been withdrawn.
It's going to be withdrawn.
I will read the thing in, but if anybody's sitting here to wait for that one, they don't have to wait for it anymore. Pick up case number 4154. Zoning Board of Appeal, Town of Stoughton, notice public hearing. Public hearing will be held in Town Hall Conference Room B, Room 301, 3rd floor, 10 Pearl Street on May 21st, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. on a petition of David Greenblatt, doing business as Kid Sports, case number 4154 for a special permit under the Town of Stoughton zoning bylaw 1970 as amended Section 5D Table of Use Regulations. Principal use, retail and trade item number 11, membership club. In order to operate a membership club located at 11 Evans Drive, further identified in Assessors Plan 43, Lot 58, an industrial zone in said Stoughton. Any person desiring to receive further notice concerning this petition as provided by the general rules of the Zoning Board of Appeals should file a written request containing his or her name and address with the board. Petitioner as representative or any of the persons desiring to be heard in this matter should appear at the time and place designated. Chairman Upro Chairman, it was in the Stoughton Journal May 1st and May 8th. The only correspondence I have is this letter appoints David Greenblatt as my agent for submitting to the Town of Stoughton for a special permit to the Zoning Board of Appeals for processing. Sincerely, Howard R. Turbin, owner of 11 Evans Drive. Mr. Greenblatt,
Motion to open case number
4154.
4154.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion to waive the reading of the abutters and to take the answers to question 8 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Greenblatt, would you like to explain what you want to do? Or your wife, whichever one.
We've been in business since 1994, and we are looking.
Really, come up and speak into the microphone.
So, we've been in business in the town since 94, and we are looking to relocate from 57 Franklin to 11 Evans Drive. Really, the format of the business, nothing would change. We would still be the membership club the way that we're doing it now. The only thing that really would change would be the location. The format of the business would stay the same.
And it's still just for the children, right?
Yes.
Okay, questions? Raj?
I don't.
No?
No question.
Tony? I know you must have some questions.
So I recall you guys coming before us when we were at 11 Evans Drive, and we talked a lot about the membership club and how that was working. And I have children who've used Kid Sports, so I know how it works. But you know, we also talked about how you were growing your business. So I'm interested if you could tell us, you know, what do you anticipate in terms of growth? I assume that's where the move is, why the move is sought. So.
Once move, there are a lot of things, we don't really have as much space as we need. So there are certain things that we do, laser tag, for example, that we can only have set up at certain times. This would allow us to be able to keep that up all the time. A lot of people want to play it, and we can't offer it all the time. And just be able to have more space outside for the kids to play, more space for the just for the birthday parties, and be able to put more equipment in, have a nicer play area for the toddlers. We don't really have a lot of space for that now.
So you'll have an outside section as well, like bigger than what you've got now?
Yes, not substantially bigger, but better local, you know.
Do you envision more kids in the after-school program or the daycare program?
Right now, we're not looking to expand the numbers. That, you know, we'll see once we can really see how much space we have. Right now, what we have, we're pretty full and it's pretty manageable right now. And we want to kind of take one step at a time, you know, get the business relocated and whatever, and then kind of take it from there. It's a lot to do at once.
Will you maintain the membership club concept for all of the different things that you're operating there?
Yeah, exactly the same as what we're doing.
And just so we put it into our decision, I think we spent a lot of time talking about it, but then the decision was fairly generic on it. But you operate the play site, right, which is for members only to come in.
Right.
And then you have the daycare facility and then an after-school program and birthday parties that are available for your members?
Yes.
Anything else that I'm missing? Okay. And parking, I think, just so we have it in the record, how many spaces do you have?
There's 50 spots
Thanks.
in the new facility, that the old had only 35,
No parking.
so it's more parking.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
The hour's gonna stay the same, 7 to,
Do you want to change?
I think we put more extended hours in the application, just,
yeah, it's 6 to 10 PM, 7 days a week.
yeah, so that's the hours that we'll.
I don't have any other questions.
You said you're having outside, right? Are the hours for outside the same as the inside?
The outside is just it's just required for the daycare center, so the kids would just be playing in the afternoon. There would be no use
At
at
night?
night,
So
no,
you
not
won't have any,
outside.
you won't have any birthday parties or anything on weekends out there or anything?
No. Not at night, no. In the afternoon.
Maybe in the afternoon, but we're not certain. At the moment, we're not planning to offer the outside, and we don't, but we may decide to offer it on the weekends. But we're not sure yet.
How many daycare students do you have during the day?
We're licensed for 20 preschoolers and 65 after-school kids. But the maximum that are out there, they measure how many kids can be out there at a time. So the most kids that are outside at a time, maybe 16, 18 kids at a time.
What's
So
the,
they're not
what's the
all
closest house?
Where we are right now? Or
Where you
through-
going?
Evans Drive.
Evans Drive.
Right, in
But the closest house would be on,
Kohana right on Central Street.
yeah, that'd be on Central Street.
Yeah, how close is the closest house?
Central Street.
50 feet away?
It's further than there's a house right next to the other one.
Closer.
It's even closer.
And only 16 out there at a time, you said?
Yeah, they can't all, because the age groups can't be out there together, the preschoolers can't be out with the
Right.
older kids.
But on a weekend, you can have your after-school groups out there?
Well, they're not there on the weekend, it's
No, but I
Monday
mean, you
to
could
Friday.
if you want to have a special event.
If we wanted to have a group, we could.
See, my concern is whether you're going to have events where you're going to have older kids, not real old kids, but, you know, noisy, there are kids there and disturb on weekends anybody that's close by.
Our concept is kids come with parents, so they're not.
We're really not that popular with the older kids. If people have been there, it's really geared more towards younger kids and families, so it's not really a cool place.
Well,
And the kids.
Geared today that way. Who knows what the future's going to bring? If you find that outside you have a beautiful spot that you may want to invite some preteens or something, some kind of event. Who knows? I don't know.
It's not anything, a direction that we've ever gone in, and not anything we've ever talked about doing.
How many more square feet you have?
It's about 1,500 more square feet than where we are right now. Just enough to offer the laser tag as a separate.
And where
space.
you are now versus when you were in the, I'll take you way back, Roxy's Plaza.
That's right.
Yes.
You remember Roxy's, right, Trent?
I remember,
Oh,
it was open when we
So-
first
How many
moved
more?
here.
Actually, it's
From Roxy's to where you are now.
okay. So from Roxy's we had 12,000 square feet. To where we are right now, we have 12,000 square feet.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to Evans Drive that has like 13,500. Well, maybe it's like 13,300. So it's like 1,500 more square feet,
That include the outside or just the inside?
just the inside.
What's the square footage of the outside?
The water line, 66,000.
No, where you're gonna have kids.
Oh, I'd like a fenced-in area,
Yeah.
2,500 square feet.
That's all I have. Thank you.
So what parts of this are open to the public or non-membership?
Everybody has to be a member to come in. And if you come into play, there are certain areas, if you're in our school program, there are certain areas that are only for the school kids, because that's a licensed program and they don't mix with people in the public.
What is the non-membership price on your website refer to?
That's, if you're first time, then you have to pay more the first time you come in, and then we enroll you and have you fill in the forms. And then after that, you're a member.
Thank you. No more questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I look at the site plan and you don't have any designated handicap spots. Are you required to provide handicap spots?
Yeah, we'll certainly do that. Yeah, so.
And that would be for a van or just vehicle?
Probably, currently we have, I think 2 handicap spots, so we'll be certainly doing that, 2 or 3 handicap spots, and we'll label it accordingly.
I would just suggest that you look at the code, what they require,
Absolutely.
and they require a van spot.
Thank you.
Where are you gonna have the kids outside?
When?
Oh, where?
We haven't fully decided, but we're thinking either to the right or left of the entrance. And the entrance
So be at the parking lot,
Yeah, either facing the parking lot or facing Evans Drive.
and that will be fenced in, correct?
Absolutely. We're looking at a 6-foot chain link fence that goes around.
What you gonna do for signage?
We haven't fully decided yet, but we're either looking at a freestanding sign or where there's an existing sign, just replace that. It says
You mean on the
sports.
side of the building?
Yeah.
You replacing the turbine sign?
Yeah. We put a backlit sign. Yeah.
Anybody in the audience? That was easy. What's the wish of the board?
Make a motion, we grant the special permit. In case number 4154. Basically the same as the last one.
I'd like to add a couple conditions. That the handicap spaces be provided in the parking lot as required by code, and that no use of outside facilities after dark. That'd be-
Yeah, that's fine,
Your
that's fine.
motion?
Yep.
You have
Yep.
kids after
And-
dark
Definitely.
anyway.
And then you're also saying the conditions that were a part of the original
They're
decision?
Out of the original decision, correct.
And based on the findings that this is a membership club, right? Are
Right,
you comfortable with making that finding too?
yes,
Yeah, Mark, if you-
And 7 days a week, 6 to 10?
yes. But
Same
that's
hours.
in
Oh,
the
yeah, so that'd be a
original- That's in the
different-
original decision.
Was it 6 to 10 in the original one? I've lost my
It's 6
paper.
to 10, yeah. It's in the packet.
So,
So if he enlarges the play area outside, he's gonna come back?
he hasn't identified the play area outside.
Said on the side, 300 feet, he said, 300 square feet.
Said 2,500 square feet.
Oh,
2,500.
2,500 square feet.
Do you want to make that a condition?
In case it
Well,
grows? I think if it's gonna grow, we should know about it.
We weren't 100% sure of the square footage of the outside. Why don't we just say 5,000, just because we're not sure yet.
I mean, you've been a good neighbor, there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the last thing we wanna do is stifle it.
Right.
But we also wanna make sure that your future plans are in,
Yeah.
in sync with the
Right.
town.
But we're not 100% sure on the square footage of the outside, just because we haven't evaluated that yet, but I don't want...
Can we vote on this without having the plan complete?
I think what I heard you say was that square footage up to 5,000 square
Yeah,
feet?
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you be okay?
I have no
saying
problem with
Anything
that.
above 5,000 square feet, he'd come back, Dan? That would be
Yeah,
the condition.
5,000 would fit there. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so
Okay,
that's,
there's been a motion.
It
I'll
has been-
second that then. I
Oh,
think we've got
okay.
the three new conditions.
That's
and
that,
then-
that's drafted decision
Okay.
is the motion, right? Did I say that?
You did.
And then I just wanted to
Andy
look at the
seconded
other
it.
ones.
What?
Landy seconded the motion.
Who's Landy?
Orlando.
7 days, 6 to 10, that's what he had before.
Okay, that's what he wants, no.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. GMP trail?
and then an expiration
Yes.
of the.
Actually,
When are you looking
I
to
couldn't
move?
believe this was 6 years ago that we
We're
did this.
looking to, move by mid-August.
So we'd want to probably have it expire a year from December then? Rather than
That's
this
what we've been
first
doing.
December. I mean, that's only a couple of months, right?
Yeah, we've been doing that.
This will be 2017.
They haven't been a problem, so I don't see, and like you said, the neighbors are farther away, not closer.
And it's
I don't see a need to,
And it's business
I mean,
behind it on both sides, except for one side.
right, I mean, they've been doing this for a number of years, so, yeah. I don't see a need to have them have to come back.
It's your call. I mean, it just gives us an opportunity to make sure that there isn't any concerns that have happened. Not that you have, but it just provides that opportunity for the board to check in.
I kind of agree with Gary, however, I think we set a precedent with everyone else that they have to come back. I mean, he's never had a problem, so it shouldn't even be an issue
We're
when he
looking
comes
at,
back.
he's spending a lot of money on
Right.
this retrofit, so we don't.
Even if he had to come back, I don't see any problem.
It is, yeah, it doesn't have to be advertised or anything. Yeah, that's fine. You just have to resubmit the application, and if there's nothing going on there.
December 31st, 2017.
No, 16. They're moving in
17.
August.
Yeah, 16.
This is 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
16. There,
16, December 16.
Yep.
All you have to do, just so you'll understand, Mary, if Mary's still there, we'll send out a letter. And all you have to do is send a letter back in, and we'll read it at the meeting, and as long as there's
Yeah, as
no
long as,
infractions, it just goes right through.
If there's no problem, you don't even have to show.
Okay, so I've got the 3 new conditions about no use of outside after dark. The outside space is to be no more than 5,000 square feet, and you're going to provide all designated handicap spots as required by code, as well as the original conditions, with the change being that the expiration is December 31st, 2016, because you did have 6 to 10 in as your hours of operation. And then the finding that this is based on the fact that all uses are for members only.
One other question I have. You get any of your, have like a snack bar. Are you planning any outside cooking? Like a barbecue day or something like that? I'll second Gary's motion.
Already did.
Sorry,
You can if you
I
want.
should woke up.
how come that's going throughout the whole?
I don't know where we're being,
You are being recorded.
I didn't see Eric.
Yeah, sorry. And,
Testing.
Okay.
I could hear you talking.
I could hear you talking. All right.
Okay, we have a motion to draft the decision. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Try to get this drafted for next meeting, and that way we can vote on it next meeting. You don't have to be here for that. And then the board, Mary will probably notify you, and then it takes 21 days after they stamp it in, which you've gone through before. So hopefully by July 1st, someplace in that area. No, or in May. By July 16th, you should be all set.
So it's a, next meeting you vote,
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
2 weeks? Oh, not
oh,
vote.
we're-
Today was a vote,
No, we vote on the decision.
oh, got it.
They'll write the decision, we'll vote on it at the next meeting. I believe my next meeting is July 16th.
June.
June.
Oh, geez, I'm trying to get away, damn. Oh, June, first week in June, whatever that is.
Monday's the 1st.
Third.
Fourth.
Oh, 5th. Monday,
Fourth.
oh,
June 1st is a Monday, so it'll be the 4th.
we'll vote on it June 4th.
And then after that is 21 days.
21 days.
So it's the 25th.
No, it's actually 21 days from when they file it
Oh,
with the
from
clerk.
when they file it.
So it'll be,
So
should file it the next day.
they'll
Okay.
file it on Friday, so,
And then I don't know if the 26th is a weekend, it's whatever that
That next Monday.
next business day.
and you can talk to Tom, I'm sure he'll help you out. I'll throw you out one of the two.
In a related hours, things
We'll never know.
Travel.
Okay, you're all set.
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Can't wish them luck. They've already been there for long enough.
Well, we'll take whatever luck. Thanks very much. Thanks for your time.
Okay, we'll take up the next case. Zoning Board of Appeal, Town of Stoughton, notice of public hearing. Public hearing will be held in Town Hall Conference Room B, Room 301, 3rd floor, 10 Pearl Street on May 7th, 2000, on, where are we here? May
21st.
21st,
Yeah, but that's a
2015.
This is a continuance of the case.
Right.
Okay.
On the petition of Michelle Garcia, case number 4151 for special permit under the Town of Stoughton zoning bylaw of 1970 as amended, Section 5D, Table Use Regulations, accessory uses. Item number 1, home occupation, and 11H, in order to operate a dog grooming located at 1126 West Street, further identified in Assessor's Plan 38, Lot 38, in an RA zone in said Stoughton. Any person desiring to receive further notice concerning this petition as provided by the general rules of the Zoning Board of Appeals should file a written request containing his or her name and address with the board. Petitioner or his representative or any other persons desiring to be heard in this matter should appear at time and place designated. Sherman Upro Chairman. I was in Stoughton Journal April 17th and April 24th. It was continued to tonight from May 7th. And did you take testimony?
Yes.
I can't sit on the case.
There a motion, open case number 4151?
Second.
I can't make the motion. Okay.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Who was sitting on this?
What
Was
was
you?
it, what did the,
Are you the one on this, or Raj?
The discussion, there was the discussion about granting the special permit, and I think the board was inclined to grant the special permit, but the terms of the special permit say that the home occupation should take place
Raj.
within the primary structure.
You're on this.
And we sort of anticipated that a solution to that would be to revise the plan to connect, to make what had been a detached barn-like structure, to connect it in some manner to the primary structure, so it would be one building. Similar to what the board agreed in a previous case on Canton Street for the Piazza Dance Studio. And the Garcias have submitted a sketch showing a trellis fenced area which connects the house to the barn in a similar way, not by anything with a foundation, but that the previously detached barn structure will, in appearance, will and the primary structure will look as one continuous structure. And they, that was a condition that they submit the drawing to me and come back at this hearing. And,
Oh, you get a copy, okay. Questions?
Yeah, this is still saying detached garage. Is it really detached now?
Well, I have to apologize for, I looked at that and I looked at the picture and I didn't look at all of the words. I think that's a misnomer. The point of it is we want to consider this building as attached.
Attached, yeah.
And I think if you mention that in your decision, or if we cross that out in the record, that should suffice.
That's what I hear, because
I should have put second garage, it just didn't sound right, you know. The garage inside contained in the home. That was my fault.
Fine.
how are you attaching this? This is just a footpath?
That's about a 6-foot, like, cedar fence with a pergola on top. Like a continuous across the-
This thing,
It's a footpath, yeah.
this thing is enclosed or is it open?
It's a continuous 6-foot fence, and it's a continuous cross going from one structure to the
Okay,
other. Cross members, it's kind of like a pergola, pergola, some call it.
Okay, I see it now. I don't have any more questions.
Marguerite?
So if we did, if we put in a condition that asked that, you know, within 60 days, or prior to receiving a building permit, you submit a plan showing that doesn't indicate this is a detached garage, would that be okay?
That was my fault.
Okay, I think it's just an important point for the decision. Just to you, Mr. Building Inspector, when you looked at the previous decision that we had referenced on Park Street, is this the same type of structure that had been used in that case to attach?
Yeah, it's on Canton Street.
Or
and
Canton Street, sorry.
It's a similar technique, if you look at the, and I brought a copy of the site plan with me, I only brought one copy if any of the board wants to look at it. You have a primary dwelling, and you have a garage, 28-foot square garage set back and apart from the house, and it's only connected by a walkway at the second floor level. There's no the foundation isn't continuous between the two structures, and I would say that this is kind of a similar technique in that it meets the letter of the law, and I think it serves the purpose enough to be able to call it an attached garage, even though it's not a really substantial attachment.
Okay. No other questions?
I gotta go by Tom, but this isn't what I really expected. I mean, to say it's attached, but it doesn't have a roof. And all it is a stockade fence, no foundation. I think is really skirting the issue that we were looking at last time, saying that it's not detached, that it's attached. I mean, it's-
The one on Canton Street doesn't have there's not a roof, there's no roof structure that connects them either.
It's not a roof that would hold water when it wouldn't leak, but it actually does have a roof, because it's technically it's like a pergola for shade, on a bigger scale, but it's just, it's got continuous trusses going on above. Canton Street's just a deck of railings.
I don't even think that one has a cover, the one on Canton
It
Street
may
is
not be
just-
right, that doesn't mean.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I mean, if you're on your deck and you look up, you're gonna see the sky, right?
Yeah. Well, in between each
How
cross.
far are the trusses? How far
Truss is
back?
gonna go from continuous from.
No, I know, but how far?
Probably about 4 to 6 feet wide.
Yeah. So I think we're really skirting the issue here. But the
I don't have a problem with it at all. I do.
wasn't what I envisioned as an attachment.
It was I mean, remember what we had done on Canton Street, and it was a wooden structure, and I couldn't recall if it was a deck or as it was described.
Did
you
we
know.
approve the one on Canton Street?
Yes.
I wasn't expecting walls and a foundation because of
No, I knew there was gonna be no foundation, but I thought walls and a roof. I mean, to me, that's an attachment.
This is more open, actually, it's open underneath.
I mean, these are home occupation situations, so I guess maybe that's why, you know, in situations of home occupations, at least there's some way to connect the two.
The point of special permits is that only the holder can use that permit, so we can't, and they've already shown that they're responsible and that so that's why I don't have a problem with with giving them back the permit.
That's all I have.
Anybody in the audience have anything? What's the wish of the board?
Make a motion that we draft a decision to grant special permit. I've got to go back to my other notes.
Who's sitting on this?
Raj is, according to my notes. To allow for a home occupation special permit to issue in order to operate a dog grooming business with following conditions. The hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Saturday. No boarding or daycare of animals will be allowed. And prior to receiving a special permit, petitioner will submit a revised plan showing the proposed attachment of the house to the garage as not indicating it as being a, quote, detached garage.
Thinking is an attachment.
Yeah, the word detached would not be included in the plan. Those would be the conditions, I think.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes on it. So it's four yeses and one abstention.
Okay. So same time frame that you heard about in the last decision would apply here for you guys.
Thank you.
Take it easy. Good luck.
Thanks.
One 48411. Go.
Do you hear all of us or just Gary and I? I wonder what. Oh, that's fine.
Okay. The next case is 4148. This case started April 2nd, continued to April 16th, continued to May 21st. And I'll read it in because I have to. Zoning Board of Appeal, Town of Stoughton, notice of public hearing. Public hearing will be held in Town Hall, Conference Room B, Room 301, 3rd floor, 10 Pearl Street, on May 21st, 2015, on a petition of Northeast Foods LLC, represented by Attorney Barry R. Crimmins, case number 4148, for a special permit under the Town of Stoughton zoning bylaw of 1970. As amended, Section 5B, Table of Use Regulations, Principal Uses in Retail and Trade. Item 4B, fast order food establishment in order to construct a new 68-seat Burger King restaurant with drive-through services located on Washington Street, further identified in Assessor's Plan 56, Lot 105 and 106, in a general business zone in Stoughton. Any person desiring to receive further notice concerning this petition as provided by the general rules of the Zoning Board of Appeals should file a written request containing his or her name and address with the board. Petitioner or his representative or any other persons desiring to be heard in this matter should appear at time and place designated. Sherman Upro Chairman, it was in the Stoughton Journal, March 13th and March 20th, 2015. I have a letter that was delivered. Sherman L. Upro, Zoning Board of Appeals, Town of Stoughton, Town Hall, 10 Pearl Street, Stoughton, Mass. Special permit variance applications, ZBA case number 4148 and 4149. Northeast Foods LLC, Burger King, Washington Street, Stoughton, Massachusetts. Assessors map number 56, lots 105 and 106. Dear Chairman Upro and members of the Honorable Zoning Board of Appeals, as you are aware, the undersigned represents Northeast Foods LLC with an address of 4415 Highway 6, Sugar Land, Texas, 77478, regarding its application for special permit and certain variances in order to construct a new 68-seat Burger King restaurant with drive-through service at the above referenced location in the general business zoning district. As you are further aware, the hearings on these applications, which were originally scheduled for April 2nd, 2015, were previously continued to April 16th, 2015, and then again to tonight's meeting. No testimony was given at the previous meetings when these hearings were on the agenda. We have recently been informed by the franchisee that the agreement with the property owner to lease the property for the proposed restaurant has reached an impasse, causing the franchisee to have to withdraw the applications at this time. Hopefully, we will be resubmitting the applications at some point in the near future. Therefore, on behalf of my client, Northeast Foods LLC, I would like to respectfully request that the board accept this letter as my client's formal request to withdraw the two above referenced applications without prejudice as provided by the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 16. Sherman L. Upro, Chairman, Zoning Board of Appeal. Got it twice. May 21st, 2015, page 2. On behalf of my client, I wish to thank you for your cooperation with this matter. Very truly yours, law officers of Barry R. Crimmins, PC. So it's on case number 4148 and 4849.
Motion to accept the withdrawal without prejudice in case number 4148.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the withdrawal of case number 4149 without prejudice.
Do we need to read that first?
Oh.
Sorry.
All right.
Zoning Board of Appeal, Town of Stoughton, notice of public hearing.
Letter.
Huh?
It's the same letter, it
He's-
references both cases.
Yeah, I'm just reading the case in. A public hearing will be held in the Town Hall
Actually, we didn't
conference
even
room.
open the cases.
We can. Well, I guess we can, yeah, we need to open the,
Hey, ask Sherm if he just woke up.
Public hearing will be held in the Town Hall Conference Room B, Room 301, 3rd floor, 10 Pearl Street, on May 21st, 2015, on a petition of Northeast Foods LLC, represented by Attorney Barry Crimmins, case number 4148 and case number 4849. For certain
4149.
I'm doing both.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you're going to open both
No,
of them
but
now.
you can, you
For
just
certain-
gave the wrong number, that's all.
But, oh, I did 4148 and 4149.
Right, yes, okay.
for certain variances under the Town of Stoughton zoning bylaw 1970 as amended Section 6G, other general dimensional and density provisions, item 10, relative to the minimum setback for the building in the B or I district from the boundary line of the B district, and Section 7 signs, subsection E, additional sign regulations. Item 5, relative to the maximum number of signs for any business or industrial establishment in the B or I districts in order to construct a new 68-seat Burger King restaurant with drive-through service within 25 feet of the residential zone line and to exceed the maximum number of signs for the restaurant located at the land on Washington Street, further identified as Assessors Plan 56, lots 105 and 106 in general business zone in said Stoughton. Any persons desiring to further notice concerning this petition as provided by the general rules of the Zoning Board of Appeal should file a written request containing his or her name and address with the board. The petitioner or his representative or any other persons desiring to be heard in this matter should appear at time and place designated. Sherman Upro Chairman, Stoughton Journal, March 13th and March 20th. I'll accept a motion to open both cases, 41.
Motion to open cases 4148 and 4149.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to accept the withdrawal of case number 4148 without prejudice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to accept the withdrawal of case number 4149 without prejudice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's the quietest Barry's been since I've been here. Okay. Now, we have a couple of decisions. First decision is case number 4141.
Motion to open case number 4141.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is for decision of the petition of Global Montello Group Corp., relief from signage requirements. Oh, I should have done 4140 first, okay. Well,
So is this the red, is that what you are added on to the decision that Steve?
Steve wrote, drafted the decisions.
Yes.
what's the red? I got no red in this.
It was in our folders.
You may have sent that green and
April 14, 2015.
You might have another version. You might see,
This is the one that I got from Mary.
there may be two in there. Sure.
Oh, really?
oh, well, one's the
I
There may
did
be
4141, so.
4141, yeah.
Okay, so on page 2, in the third paragraph, it should say April.
Yeah, see, this doesn't.
Yeah.
So you probably have the one that Steve
Oh,
drafted.
April 14, 2015.
Oh, I know where,
We just
can I
opened
see that
41.
first? No, we opened 4141.
Yeah, I opened 4141. That's-
4141.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Steve drafted a decision, and then Attorney Lee has provided to the board some requested changes to that. But I think all Mary gave you in the main folder is the
I'll
version
take the
of
black
Steve.
and white,
Huh?
the color one.
Here,
Well-
there it is.
I have the red line.
That's the red line.
yeah,
version.
but the one that Sherm has, the one that we're supposed to sign, doesn't have the red line, so we're just trying to figure out, oh, there
Only
it
if
is.
we.
Well, this is my draft
for discussion
sheet.
purposes, because if we don't agree with the changes, then we would sign the version that we have. If we do agree with some or all of the changes, we'd have to identify that, make those changes, and
Okay,
then sign.
that's what I'm trying to get to, right.
Yeah. I think we need to talk tonight about what's our opinion on the changes that are being requested.
Right.
And
But on this case, it's
then make a
There's
motion.
only 2 changes according to,
Then there's some other, and wherever you see a line on the left-hand side, a perpendicular line, that's
Oh,
where there
yeah.
was a change.
Last page, yes.
So there's some minor editing, and then, yeah,
To what?
substantive.
yeah, the lines, okay, I see.
In the last page, yes.
So, did you agree with the,
Well, I guess my first question is, and this applies to both cases, that, I mean, our last meeting was on April 16th, and you added revision 5 to the plans, which was on April 21st, and I don't think we ever saw that. I don't feel that it was.
Did you get revision
I do have
4?
revision 4, which I mean, was already in there. If you look previously, it's duplicative. So that's where I stopped, because that's all I had. And the revision 5 seems to have come after our hearing, so I didn't see it.
Right, I think it was a result of some comments from the board or some sort of changes to plans.
It's not part of the record, so we can't add it into the decision.
Okay, I mean, as long as, I think one qualification I had. and-
Substantial.
Yeah, that's on condition 1.
Just one.
The signage shown in substantial compliance with the revised plans. So provided that plans that are of record, that they can be subject to minor modifications.
I think we've done something like this before. I don't know if we've used the word substantial conformance. I think we've talked about, if there's site plan review, the planning board may require certain things to be changed. I think in the special permit decision, there were some conditions that required some modifications to the plan, so obviously this would be complying with that. I don't personally have a problem with substantial conformance. I think the intention here is that if you're doing something different than what the board has an understanding of what you're doing, then the board needs to see it again. But if you're just making a change that another board has asked to be made that's not significant, if it's significant, we would probably still want to see it because we aren't at that meeting necessarily, so. That would be my feeling on it. But I don't think, I agree with Steve that we can't include this change about the dates of revision of the plans, unfortunately, because we have to go with what's in our record.
I mean, if I recall correctly, I don't think there were any further changes on the signage that would have been incorporated. I obviously didn't say, but maybe the speed hump or something like that, which would be relevant to the other case.
Right.
So I don't have an issue with the substantial language.
so we're just adding the substantial,
Yeah, I mean, we can accept his typographical error changes, and
They-
we can accept all the changes except the one made on page
2.
The one about the addition of revision 5.
Yeah. Well, revision 4 is already there. That's kind of
Right.
So the whole change on that line, otherwise, we can accept it.
okay, I'll make a motion, we accept the,
Well, wait a minute, before I get all screwed up here. So what we're doing is, we're doing the original
you're taking this
grant,
out.
but what,
Taking
well,
that
I
out.
was gonna say, what I can do is just, we're putting this in, right?
And we're adding that, yes.
So if I just change the back page of this and put this in,
Yeah.
because it's the same,
Yep,
with the substantial, then they,
And a couple of other typographical edits.
right.
I think we could make a motion to approve the variance as drafted with all the changes requested by Attorney Lee except for the change that refers to including revision 5. And then if we sign the last page, we could probably have Mary make those edits, because she has a Word version, right, from
Is there
you?
a separate signature page?
Say it again?
Is there a separate signature page there?
There should be.
Yes.
Mary said she was going to give us a separate signature page, and then we could make the revision.
Right.
Yeah, I have a signature page.
So we could sign the signature page and maybe move to ask the secretary to, or the clerk. What
That's
is
you.
Mary's title?
That's
I
you.
don't want to be making these changes tomorrow. You don't want me to do it, I wouldn't get to it on time. What's Mary's title?
Secretary.
I'm the secretary, I'm on the
Oh,
board.
she's the zoning board
Yeah.
Yeah, the zoning,
Clerk?
clerk, yeah.
yeah.
I can send her a clean copy tonight as well, if you're more comfortable with not having to spell everything out.
Oh. Okay.
All right. So I'll make a motion, we
Go.
accept case number 4141 with the editorial changes, and on page,
Four.
page 4, condition number 1 added to the first sentence, substantial conformance with.
Do you want the other ones too, the other typographical ones?
The
or no?
typographical, well, that's what.
So you want all of them except for this
Yeah,
revision
this April,
5,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, those.
Except the changes on page 2.
So this should be.
The change on page 2,
Revision 5.
right.
Yeah, so that's actually, that's deleted,
The other one's just
Yeah.
redundant. But,
and this is right. This is on the variance, right?
Right.
This is on the back.
Okay.
So we're just taking out April 21st,
Yeah, that's getting
2015,
scratched,
revision
right.
5.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, the whole line's
The
getting
line's getting
scratched
scratched.
because it's redundant.
So you
It's already
people
Oh.
understand.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry?
Who seconded that?
Yes, I did. Sure.
Take it back.
Motion open case number 4140.
Second?
4140 is
First part of this.
first part, but I should have done beginning.
Well, I figured that last one wasn't going to be too tough.
Oh, it's 4140.
Oops, sorry.
No, changes on this still. Oh, once again, April 21st.
You need to take a vote on that motion to open?
What's that?
Oh, I need a second first.
I think someone has seconded it. Sorry, second. Yeah, Dan did.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I
Okay.
thought we voted on it.
Huh?
Never mind.
No, not on 4040, not 4140.
Right. Oh, right,
We did on 4141.
Oh, this was the second, right?
right.
Okay, he's got changes on page, oh. How did I get 9 pages and only got 8 here?
Because he's added quite a bit at the end. There's a lot of changes at the end, Sharon, so that adds to the
Yeah.
pagination.
Okay, so we're gonna accept page 2, out, his revisions.
That's, which one? You're talking on,
Page 2 of,
4140?
40 now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna accept the, we're taking out, actually, all of his revisions except the spelling in paragraph 1.
Well, just, accept accept his revisions, except with an A, except with an EX, the April 21st.
Right. Well, and again, on.
So that's his
And
change.
we got
You can
it
take that out,
into-
yeah.
And we're gonna accept 2 and then taken out.
We'll give you some of these words that we
Yeah.
We're taking out the revision 4 in April, we're
This
taking
one's
out
not.
April 21st, 2015, right?
Right.
Yes.
So these are all okay up here,
Yeah.
except for this one here. That one I'd cross out, but these lines are all okay.
Oh, we're leaving, oh,
We're
well,
leaving that, we're leaving this change, we're leaving this change, we're leaving that change.
and those were the only changes, right?
On page 4, Sean?
Yeah. Oh,
I think we should keep the GPI recommendation. Accept that revision. Strike out the word "and" at the beginning of that paragraph. Accept the spelling, grammar, etc. under findings. All right, now we're on page 6. What do you guys feel with the word substantial? Substantial accordance.
That's the same as what was done with the variance plans, pretty much, except it adds in the planning board reference because
Subject to refinement of the planning board sounds good. Number 3, does anybody have a problem taking out all traffic items from the design and layout improvement?
No,
Taking
did-
that out, are we, is there a, what do you call it, some wiggle room on their part, or do we
Well,
leave that in?
the original condition said that all traffic items, which are the GPI recommendations that I referred to earlier in the decision, originally said that they'll be addressed to the satisfaction of GPI, Mass DOT, and town engineer prior to issuance of an occupancy permit. And just changed that to the design and layout of the improvements set forth in the GPI recommendation shall be diligently pursued to the extent possible and to the reasonable satisfaction of GPI, Mass DOT, and the town engineer, period. Construction of such improvements shall commence as soon as reasonably practicable after such design and layout have been so approved by Mass DOT.
Oh, does he have wiggle room by taking that?
Well, yeah, we're not conditioning his occupancy permit. The way he changes it, we're not conditioning the granting of an occupancy permit based on their satisfaction of the traffic items. He's saying that they'll diligently pursue them and that they'll start the construction of the improvements as soon as reasonably possible after the approvals.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, I mean,
Seems like every time there's wiggle room, we get wiggled anyway when it comes here, so.
I'm okay with it.
I'm not, but I'm not okay with the decision anyways, so.
I
I'm not
can't
gonna
hear you
change
well.
my vote, but.
I can't hear you.
I'm
Marty.
not okay with it. I don't like this change. I feel that giving him until the occupancy permit is a sufficient amount of time, and if they can't meet this requirement by then they come back and ask for a modification at that time. But at that point in time, we're gonna have a better idea of what's been done and what still needs to be done. And I feel like this doesn't ever give us that oversight. It's more of just, we are taking them at their word, and as much
Right.
as I'm not suggesting that we can't, I still feel that that was a big point for this board. These traffic items and these improvements and what was being suggested, with the understanding that Mass DOT was this, this extra element that needed to be involved in it. It was, in my opinion, as we went through the case, those were still really important items for the board to be talking about. And I think that, occupancy permit is as far out as we can go for them, and it will give us a better sense. It almost forces a conversation with the developer again. If for some reason they can't comply, if they can comply, then it's done, which is what we want. And if they can't comply, then they come back and they tell us what's been going on and where are they at.
I
And
concur with you on that, Marguerite.
I don't have a problem changing it at that point in time, but I'd like to know more details. But again, it's not going to change my vote ultimately, whatever edits are made to this.
I see. Part of the issue is the timing with respect to the audit that needs to be done, in order to effectuate some of the that have been requested by the board. That's a very long and, I won't say unpredictable process, but you're dealing with an entity. My understanding is that even to get on the agenda. My client wants to be able to commence construction based on weather conditions and just to get the project going. The project was delayed, as you know, we came to you back in February. And so it's been quarter to quarter delays. My client has every intention he wants to get up and running as soon as possible. He has no interest in delaying any proceedings that have to, or discussions that have to occur with Mass DOT. And you have not only the town engineer's oversight, but you also have GPI's oversight. And I think that in addition to Mass DOT. So I think with all of that, my client has every reason to work diligently to not sit back and not work towards completion of implementing these requested traffic improvements. But he has limited control over that process.
Did you hire McMahon?
Yes.
So why are you taking his letter of recommendations out of the,
No, it's still there, he just kind of changed the terminology. He's...
but he's not addressing that, his own traffic?
He is. What I had done was, say, the GPI letter and the McMahon letter are where the recommendations came out of, and I described those recommendations in the paragraph, and he just said, okay, this paragraph are the GPI recommendations, and since I included everything in the letter, it was okay. So it's just kind of a cleaning up of the language, but it doesn't have an effect, I would say.
We were in agreement with GPI's recommendations,
Yeah.
as well as the town engineer.
So would you be amenable to the original condition with carving out Mass DOT and having Mass DOT's approval be subject to kind of the softening that you put, the softening language that you put around if Mass DOT is going to be the main concern there?
I'm not following.
Well, I mean, if you had the occupancy permits, if that was conditioned on the satisfaction of just GPI and the town engineer, and then we would put in that you're reasonably pursuing, or diligently pursuing with Mass DOT. Would that be
So in
sufficient?
other words, that the occupancy certificate would not be withheld as long as the applicant is diligently pursuing completion of implementation of the GPI recommendations, which I guess that determination would be made by the town engineer, as determined by the town engineer?
Which one do you want?
Well, no, you would keep the original condition
Steve wrote?
in its original edits. I mean, as
This one?
original
My
was,
edits?
no, sorry, our
As you
original.
drafted.
Yeah, as drafted. And take out Mass DOT. So that you have to address traffic items to the satisfaction of GPI and the town engineer prior to getting occupancy permit. But then you also have to, then we can put in your edits, kind of split down the middle with respect to Mass DOT.
So can you tell me how it would
Oh,
read?
yeah.
in a little
Oh, am
more
I going
detail?
way off course there? Is this unreasonable?
Well, I'm just not sure, the traffic items,
I'm
the
just trying-
traffic
yeah.
improvements have to, Mass DOT is a part of that improvement occurring.
Yeah, well,
They're a party to the,
well, right. And
ability
I think
to
my
do that.
understanding, what he was saying was he didn't want to condition the occupancy permit on Mass DOT's approval because they were the most likely ones to hold it up. So I'm saying if we condition the occupancy permit on just GPI and town engineer's approval and then have him diligently pursuing to the extent possible and to the reasonable satisfaction of Mass DOT. So kind of split down the middle with the two approaches.
except that I don't believe it's just Mass DOT approval. It's Mass DOT has to be involved in, it's not just their approval. They are the ones who get involved first in saying, yes, these are the things that you do, and then you will go ahead and do them, and that can't, and after that's done, then GPI and the town engineer have to say,
Okay, so that would, so that
Say
this
yes.
probably wouldn't, this
Am I-
would be impractical.
I mean, it's sort of all mixed together. I don't know that we can pull Mass DOT's approval out, because you don't get that last.
I think the way it was structured, all three sort of have the right to be satisfied in connection with these GPI recommendations and how they are designed and implemented.
And you would have to have done those recommendations.
Right, and our concern is that there is such a long period of time, potentially, for various steps along the way that are involved in this process, that would literally not enable us to be able to have our building permit, complete construction, and then just sit with a completed building that we can't operate.
So
Well,
what-
I mean, that's why I
We
feel
have
that
the-
you could come back and ask for a
Yeah,
modification.
I guess
I mean,
what
you
we
may
do
be
is
able to
then
do it
Come
before.
back, you don't know what, you don't know what you're gonna get. I'm sure you.
With us?
Yes. No offense, but it's just, you never know what,
Well,
I mean.
Marguerite?
We could say that if it's not possible due to Mass DOT's failure to approve prior to issuance of an occupancy permit, the petitioner has the right to come back and ask for an extension of time to comply with this permit, or with this condition, and such extension shall not be unreasonably denied,
What
something like
extension?
that.
What-
Extension of time to comply with the terms of this condition.
What time are we talking about?
I don't know. I mean, we'd need to know. See, the problem is that we could just say, we want you to give us a better plan and not issue a decision right now. But we're willing to try to go on a little bit on good faith that you guys will be working on this between now and when you're ready for occupancy of the building, and you'll have a better idea of a plan at that point in time. And the board is trying to help you get started on this right now by saying, okay, do as much as you can, get a bit more of a definition here. But we had 3 experts sitting in front of us who said, here are our recommendations, but we really can't tell you exactly which of these recommendations will be done because we have to talk to Mass DOT. We can't really talk to Mass DOT until we can get moving on this permit. And so it was sort of this chicken and the egg issue. And that sounds great, but from my perspective, I've seen that happen, and then developers just, it doesn't get done, period. There's no oversight.
Well,
Marguerite.
the town engineer is the oversight, I think.
Is there a possibility, not to delay the project, but if he does everything that is required by the town, and he hasn't got the determination yet from Mass DOT what has to be done, issue the occupancy permit if the town engineer agrees. Once the Mass DOT comes back with their finding, he has X amount of time to do it, or we pull the occupancy permit.
But the problem is that it's not that the town makes the decision about what's required now. They have to have Mass DOT involved in that conversation. It's a state highway. So we can say, this is what we want done, which we have done, but we can't require that to occur until Mass DOT concurs that these changes are something they're agreeable to as well.
Well, the engineer is in contact with Mass DOT anyway on this intersection, isn't he?
Their engineer will be.
Yeah.
And then
As-
once
as
Mass
yours.
DOT, yeah.
Right.
Yours
Well,
will be
yeah, but not first. I mean,
involved.
you'll start with the filing, and then they'll get our engineer involved.
So I would think our town engineer, I believe he said that he was going to be involved in this heavily anyway, right?
He needs to be.
Right. So he's going to have a pretty good idea what Mass DOT is going to require. If the attorney here wants to take the gamble, and he satisfies all the other conditions, and does what he wants to do and what he believes, in conversation with our engineer, has to be done and does it, now we give him the certificate of occupancy. Now Mass DOT comes back, and unfortunately, it's a little bit different than what everybody visioned, that he has to do. All right, you got 6 months to do it, or we pull your occupancy permit.
So how would
I
you
don't know
write
if
up a
that would work.
condition
I
that
don't-
says that?
Hmm?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
worst case scenario, like, they go to Mass DOT, and Mass DOT says, we don't want to do any of the recommendations, and then he has to come back and say, we aren't going to be able to comply with this condition because we can't implement any of the recommendations. Would we then be comfortable with allowing him to keep his special permit, given that they're not going to make any changes to the traffic signals or striping or anything, considering that's a condition we have in our permit? And I think that's his worst case scenario, possibly. I mean, it's unlikely, but.
having the occupancy certificate stripped, based on a time condition or a time constraint. The problem is just the fact that this is, it's a complete raise and rebuild, and there's a lot of money being put into the site as well as off-site, and they don't, if it were my money, I wouldn't want to put money into a complete rebuild and then potentially have the occupancy taken away.
Well, then I would
As
say
well.
that we could make it earlier in the time frame for you and say, get this approval in place before you do any other, demolition permit or building permit. It just delays the start of the project for you, but at least you aren't out money
That's-
and risking that. I think it's.
They're both bad.
I know, and I
But-
realize that, but for the board, we're not, that's a big part of this decision. Had you added one more condition to this, it would have been a really big part of the decision for me as well. I think all those traffic improvements that were discussed occurring, or if they're not going to occur, whatever that change might be, is a really big, important piece for me as a board member sitting here. And had you added, the other condition, it would have been, those two would have been my primary conditions I was looking at, so. I don't know about the rest of the board, that's my own personal opinion, and I understand your dilemma, and I'm trying to find a way to not.
Well, the town engineer will,
Agree
again,
that.
will be intimately involved in the process, and I think the town engineer can make a determination as to whether we are not making diligent efforts towards completion of what we are saying we're gonna do. And if that happens, then we're in default of the special permit.
What's the difference between that? and
Which issue are you exactly talking about?
For me?
Yeah.
I wanted there to be a condition of no drive-through.
Oh, no, I'm not
No,
talking that
that's
part.
not on
but-
here, so I'm already voting against this decision anyways.
Right, no, I understand that.
This,
But
This other
I know we're not going to tell DOT how to cycle those lights. They're not going to listen to us. I know that for sure. They're going to do it,
And this intersection's, what, 6th or 8th worst one in the state?
used to be third.
Yeah,
Five.
we can't let
Okay,
it slip
fine.
through our fingers. It's got to be done right.
But
think-
this,
We're trying to make it,
right.
But for us, nothing would be done.
But if you
Correct.
default, that could take, you want to talk about years, you could default and appeal it and come back.
Intentionally default or
No,
default
what-
not by
default's a
our
default.
doing? I mean, it would be because, for whatever reason, Mass DOT decides, off very low risk, I think, that the recommendations of both McMahon and GPI and the town engineer are somehow detrimental to their interest.
So, can I ask a question? So from an improvement point of view, because really our changes in the signal timing will be very relevant to the improvements of the traffic to a certain extent, not really solving the traffic problem, but really improving it. I don't think the DOT, Mass DOT is going to object to that, especially when the town requests that, and based on the experts' opinion that change the timing will improve that and will improve safety as well. The other item is really the sidewalk, in my opinion. Construction is that if you say that I want to replace the whole sidewalk, the DOT is possible could come back and say, no, we don't want you to touch any of the physical characteristics, because I think the DOT already have a plan in place to address that intersection, to reconstruct that intersection, maybe design it and reconstruct it. So you may end up being in the midst of that. At that time, if the DOT said that, then you're technically off the hook. You don't need to provide any resources to build those sidewalks. And one question to you, you mentioned at the beginning of the discussion is that road safety audit. Can you expand on that? How did that come into the picture?
Our traffic consultant was here, but my understanding is that a roadway safety audit is required based on, I think, the designation of this intersection.
Okay. Because road safety audit is really a process that MassDOT, again, follows as a first step in any kind of improvements. And again, will entail the involvement of everybody, all the safety agencies within the town, police and fire and everybody, public works and town engineer, plus the DOT people from the district office and from Boston office as well. And basically they go into the site and they look at it and they identify those safety items that they will see that needs to be fixed. And again, the town's input will be very significant at that time. And then after that study is done, then they will go back and determine what improvements are going to take place, and then they will kind of advance that into a design. And I don't see kind of your site will have any contribution to that, because really the improvements they will be looking at has nothing, wouldn't be timing only. It wouldn't be minor stuff. It would be major, really, reconstruction, reconfiguration, and all that stuff. So I don't know what comes into the picture. But what we are asking of the site is really to modify the timing based on the recommendation of GPI's report in McMahon, and then do the sidewalks and the wheelchair ramps if they are not in compliance with ADA. That's my understanding for the level of improvements. So if that commitment up front, then at least my feeling, again, is I don't think MassDOT will object to that as a first step, because the major improvements that's going to happen at that intersection take years, to design, to prepare for, and then to construct. And I don't think they will kind of object to doing those improvements. And I do trust the town engineer kind of will fall on that front, basically, to make sure that those improvements will take place right away, basically.
So how long do you believe it would take for this to occur?
The timing and that can be done alongside with the site, and MassDOT will review the petition, and then they will, in my opinion, they will approve it within 2 months, maybe at the most.
Do you feel it's feasible for them to get approval before an occupancy permit would be issued?
It depends when they want to, they start construction, and how long does it take them for construction, and then get the occupancy permit. If he says that it's going to take us 6 months, but by the time we have shovel in the ground and then be ready for opening, then a permit from the MassDOT can be obtained within that time frame.
There's something missing. That is not how it's been explained to me in terms of the timing. So the GPI recommendations, as defined in
Page 4.
draft decision,
Yeah.
you're looking at those. There are
Yep.
5, and you're saying that all 5 of those, you think, from application to approval by Mass DOT is a 2-month process?
No, I'm saying is like the approval from MassDOT can be obtained to do those improvements. And to do those improvements, it doesn't take much to construct a sidewalk and change timing. And I mean, those can be done really within that time frame, yes?
1 through 5, from
Yes.
the point in which we...
Let me go back.
Page 4.
Page 4. Keep going back.
Huh? Okay, so let's go through them. Implementation of signal dedicated left turn lane and protect permitted left phase. That's all signal stuff, and then the dedicated left turn lane is really more of a painting, right? You're not doing any physical changes to the roadway. And the painting, they can paint it overnight, basically. And And the second one is the same thing, is all painting. The signal timing, it can be done within a couple hours, basically, at the most. They can open the cabinet, change the timing to what's being proposed, and that's very quickly too. And examine pedestrian walk, flashing don't walk, all these intervals, that's just an observation. You can go there for 15 minutes and or open the cabinets and you can tell exactly how it operates. And there is some calculation for that to determine what the actual timing is supposed to be for walking and flashing don't walk, because the standard of the manual has changed from the time when this was installed and now. There's a new version of the manual. Kind of the walk time has to be 3.5 seconds per minute, 3.5 feet per second. It used to be 4. And then providing an appropriate number of bicycle parking spaces.
That's not Mass DOT, though.
That's on site, right?
Yeah, that's on site.
So, I mean,
So,
that's
so
what I
actually, I
understand.
think we're getting off track here.
Right.
We're looking at the wording for this section is basically what we're trying to figure out is
Well, that is.
acceptable to both.
That's referring to
Right.
these changes.
But you're saying you don't want Mass DOT to hold up the project.
Correct. And if it's as short a period as you're saying, which I'm not so sure that that's the case, then I guess why would my proposed language be troubling for the board? If it's that short of a period, number one, it's a short period, and number two, you'll know very soon whether or not we are just sitting on our hands doing nothing.
I mean, personally, I don't want to speak for anybody, is that I have no problem separating the two, the occupancy permit from the MassDOT approval. But I'm certain that obtaining a permit from MassDOT is not really an impossible. It's possible. And right.
I'm just saying, it's been explained to me that it's a lengthy process. You're saying that the RSA, that doesn't...
I don't think you need to do the RSA. I don't see the relationship between the site and the RSA, unless they're kind of asking you to do that as a prerequisite to determine what kind of improvements. And then the outcome of the RSA is not really what's being described here. That's my concern, is that the RSA will talk about the long-term improvements for that intersection. And I don't think you will be asked at any time to provide improvements based on the RSA, because it's going to require reconstruction of the entire signal system.
Yes, I understand
Right.
that piece. But ultimately, what the town cares about are these 1 through 5. And what's been explained to me is that we need to go through this RSA process, despite the fact that there are, I guess, short, medium, and long-term outcomes that Mass DOT may have an interest in as an outcome with respect to that RSA. But that we cannot implement these recommendations until we go through that process. And that process, if we do have to go through that process, it's a long period of time. Do you agree with that?
Are they requiring you to provide, to pay for the RSA?
Yes.
Okay. I can see that what they're trying to do is to get the RSA up front, where, you know, you put that in place. And the RSA really just a matter of scheduling, you know, to get everybody on the
Which can take
same
2
date.
months.
Huh?
2 months to get on.
Yeah, about 2 months, yeah.
That's just to get on the schedule.
Well, then what if the language was as we originally drafted it, and then if an RSA is required, then we can put in your language? That seems to be the difference here, right?
Way of doing it. I was going to suggest if we have his edits and then put to the reasonable satisfaction of GPI, Mass DOT, town engineer, and the zoning board, and then require them to come back every 6 months to give us a status update so we can make a
Or that
determination on
works.
whether that's reasonable diligence.
I mean, that's the issue. The issue is that we want to make sure that you're doing it.
All right, can we be required to regularly meet with the town engineer?
as long as there's some control over what reasonable diligence is, whether we want to retain the ability to make that determination, or if we're fine passing that off to the town engineer.
I think the town engineer was quite
If
diligent.
the town engineer does it, then I think it should be clear that if he's not satisfied that the permit, special permit will be immediately suspended.
I think at that point, then it would be as if we were in default for any reason. That we did not,
But I don't
Look
want
at
to
the
have
other
to go
conditions,
through all the
and then
rest of
we
it. I
would-
think we would say it's an immediate suspension until it's cured. I mean, that's the piece about it. I agree that if you're in default, you're in default of a condition, but there's process that goes on in default of a condition, and you'd still be utilizing the site where there'd be traffic improvements that we believe add to an element of safety to this intersection that aren't occurring.
I agree we could come back, but I don't think it's necessarily fair that you're saying that there would be some type of a cease and desist
If
in
the
our
town, if
operations.
the town engineer is not satisfied, so we'd have to impose some type of a, build in some type of a
Stoppage.
check-in or status report system with the town engineer, and if for any reason he's not satisfied with
sign
the
that.
work that's being done, they would
that-
immediately suspend the special permit until such time as the issues of the town engineer are cured. So you could fix it overnight if there's something that he's upset about.
I think we would want the right to present evidence to the board at that time. So basically, he would call out a default, allow us to continue, and give us a chance to come in and argue our case.
Well, yeah, or you could
Yeah,
come
but-
into us and argue the case, but
But to
still,
be
but
suspended,
the
it may be a-
suspension of the special permit during that time. Why would we?
It may be I mean, the board would still get the ability to assess ultimately what you wanted to have the board to assess in the first case.
I'm comfortable with the town engineer being the one to make the decision. The issue for me is that how are we going to be able to ensure that if there's a problem, that this operation is not occurring until that problem is fixed? So that's that's my only suggestion. You can protect whatever rights you have. It's real, I mean, and it's up to the rest of the board members, really, to figure out the language of this condition, but that would be, for me, the type of language that I would want to see in here.
Perhaps have the town engineer oversee the process, which I think he's going to do anyway. And to the extent that we are not doing what we say we're going to do, and we're not diligently pursuing completion of these recommendations, then the engineer can make that determination, and we can come before this board and provide, or give reason as to why. There may be a perfectly good reason why we have not been able to work towards this or make progress on it. And then the board can, I guess, issue a temporary suspension until we can cure. The board still gets the opportunity to be able to see what's going on, why the town engineer has a concern. But I don't want to have complete operations stopped until the board gets to give a final say as to.
We wouldn't be able to give a final say without having a meeting anyways.
Right, which takes time. That's my point.
Absolutely.
So either you cure-
My point is, it does take time.
Yeah.
We'd have to get on
Right.
the agenda. And the only violation here would be that we've stopped diligently pursuing completion of these recommendations. It's not as if.
So I guess
It's
I'm a
not a
little
different type of
concerned that that's
violation.
something you're not doing. I mean, honestly, at this stage, I'm starting to wonder, like, I think you're arguing some significant hypotheticals. We've given, this language that we've been talking about has given you a lot of leeway to work with the town engineer to his satisfaction. it's important to the board that these safety conditions be implemented, and that if they're not able to be implemented, that everybody who has provided expert testimony to us be comfortable with the reasons why they're not being implemented, and it not be at the fault of you or your client. So I think that, you know, to some extent, there's going to be a little bit of risk here.
But the big difference is that you're saying that we immediately have to stop operations on our site and wait for that long period, that
No, wait
period to
until
get on an
the town
agenda.
engineer is comfortable with changing it, with removing the suspension.
What you're saying is that the town engineer would have
The
the
ability-
ultimate to say. He could stop you if you did something that he wasn't comfortable with. And he would bring it to the board, but he could stop you for a day or two until you complied with what he wanted you to do, or what you were supposed to do, or whatever.
I mean, I think he can stop and restart it. He can stop
Well,
it, and
that's
he
what
can
I mean.
restart it. We don't have to be involved in that aspect of it, unless they want the opportunity to come before us and argue that they disagree with the town engineer. And
Can we include in that a reasonable opportunity for us to cure?
there is a reasonable it's suspended, and then
Without,
that's something you would argue with the town engineer.
We're assuming a lot on the town engineer, too. I mean, at town meeting, you saw all the new responsibility projects that he has. He's going to be busy. And he's not going to be at this client's disposal anyway. You call him Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock, he may not be there Tuesday, Wednesday. He's got his own schedule. We can't determine how opportunistic this whole thing is going to be. You think he's going to come down like that, he may not be able to. He could be on vacation. He could be busy on other clients. He's not
So
gonna
what are
drop
you
everything.
proposing?
Actually,
understand
We can't
the-
speak for him.
he sends us a notice saying, look, you're not, why isn't this moving forward? You haven't been working
Right.
towards with Mass DOT. We get that notice, we have a reasonable, kind of like a lease, we have a reasonable opportunity to cure that quasi default, and if we don't, then he can suspend. That's kind of like how a building
Yeah.
inspector works.
That I'm okay with, because he still doesn't have to come before the board for that.
I was never expecting him to come before the board. I just
No.
think that town engineer has the right to
Okay.
suspend and cure.
The
But
town,
that's
we fully acknowledge that
to
the town
you guys.
engineer, he's really
We'll
the
give
representative of the town.
a fixed
overseeing
number of
this.
days to cure after receiving notice.
it depends on what the issue is
Yeah, it's
also.
going to depend.
Yeah,
Really
but all
depends.
he has to cure is to very subjectively satisfy the engineer that they're diligently pursuing.
Right.
It's very subjective on the engineer's part.
Right.
And nobody thinks the engineer should be included in this conversation? Doesn't work for us.
Well, he still has to go before planning, too.
No, I know that.
But isn't it, that's the town engineer's responsibility anyway,
Right.
what you are describing.
But
So this is nothing new for him.
what we're trying to do is
Yeah.
determine what the language here is, okay? We're getting,
All right, well,
you want
It's
to,
his responsibility.
why don't we
I
give
agree.
the town engineer, well, all right, so starting from the proposed language that Mr. Smith has proposed, giving the town engineer the right to suspend after 30 days of providing notice, or 14 days, or something. That,
I mean, again, I go back to what is it that we're asking them to do? And what we're asking them to do is not that major, that if they're not able to do that, that's a concern to me.
But the way it's implied, that it seems your scope is still not known, because it will be subject to that RSA that you are doing, and then defining the scope, which is, I don't think that's the case, because really the scope is clearly defined in this. So if you say, okay, I want to do this scope, then regardless what the RSA comes up with, because you're not on the hook to do any of those improvements.
We're on the hook to do what's clearly set forth
This
in
one.
the decision, right?
So the RSA, it was not presented during the last session,
Right.
and it's not in any way listed in here, so it's really a completely different topic and subject.
The only reason I mentioned the RSA is for timing purposes.
Right.
And that I think it could take a long time, despite how hard we work towards getting to finality on that. And we want to be able to, once we have comfort that those will be approved by Mass DOT and the town engineer, GPI, then we want to be able to go forward and commence construction and get the project moving so that we can operate.
So what happens if the RSA does not even list these items? The RSA is going to say, okay, we're going to reconstruct the entire intersection. So it will not be relevant to reconstruct a sidewalk, for example. Then what do you do then? I mean, basically.
Well, we're not obligated to do anything outside of what's set forth here.
So I mean, my suggestion would be is to stick with these recommendations and then proceed with those improvements up front, regardless, you know, if you want to do the RSA, that's your, you know, take.
Well, again, my understanding is that they're not mutually exclusive. They in order to implement these 5 recommendations and to get construction of those on the ground commenced, we have to go through this long RSA process.
I mean, the RSA itself,
I don't think it's our just.
it's really the input of the town engineer and the safety officers and the people from the town. And those were presented, that's how we came up with these recommendations, based on the input we got from the agreement that we got from the engineers that were hired by our town engineer. Right? So we did not come with these recommendations from a vacuum, but it was recommendation from the town and the town engineer, so he is.
I agree with that.
Right.
There's
I
no
think-
dispute over we acknowledge.
No, there's all the
five
disputes, is the language in this statement here, and we're getting away from what.
The
yeah.
town should be interested in making sure that we work towards doing what we say we're going to do.
Right.
We're going to have GPI, the town engineer, on us to make sure that that gets done. And I don't really see the risk of the town here in this regard. And the town engineer, as the sort of supervisor of this, representative of the town, to make sure that this particular condition is fulfilled, I think provides the town with plenty of protection. It's the town engineer's one of his responsibilities. And if we don't do what we say we're going to do in this condition, then he can call us on it.
Not
I think that's
disagreeing
the
with
only-
you.
I think that's the only thing that maybe
Yes,
would need to
language
be
should be
added
put
to
in.
this.
That language got to be added in, right?
That if he disagrees, that he can, that if it's not to the satisfaction of the town engineer, that's the point. That's where you didn't get beyond that. If it's not to the satisfaction of the town engineer, then my suggestion would be that he has the right to suspend the special permit until it's cured. It can be cured by you coming to us, it can be cured by you going to him and fixing it with him directly, which is probably going to be faster. But if it isn't, you come to us and we cure it.
So he has a right to suspend,
So-
doesn't have to.
Yeah. That is, I
Let's
think, the
just
protection.
add that sentence at the end of this statement then.
Right.
That's where we are right now.
Right.
So what you're saying, Marguerite, he has the right to suspend and to reissue.
Yes, that's what I've been saying.
That's what you said at the beginning.
And the time frame is subject to him as well.
Well, it'd be up to him, because he'd be the one that
Right.
was stopping it and
I mean,
starting
we
it.
can't go 14, 30 days, because it depends on the issue.
To check
He
with
should
your
do that.
client on something like that.
I mean, I think we can, well, it's up to you if you want to give us an extension. We have until tomorrow to issue a decision, so at this stage, I think that, to me, would be the type of language that I would hope the board would want to put in here. Make his change without additional
Yeah, I
language.
mean, believe me, I'd like to get this off my desk. So hopefully, depending on how these other proposed comments go, if this is the only change that the board is recommending, then I think we could probably I could get feedback from my client early tomorrow, and then
Should have said that
get
45
it
minutes ago.
approved.
Well, we're gonna have to get to the other one.
Unfortunately, he couldn't come tonight.
So maybe we should just leave it there and go to the other one.
I understand the concept,
Okay.
and I can convey that back to my client, and, I don't know, I'd like to relay it to Stephen directly, if that's okay. I can CC Mary.
Should you go through Mary, who should forward it to me, or can you just send it to both of us at once?
Or I can send it to Mary and CC.
Yeah, I think that, well, I think we should go through the other ones, and then we can maybe talk about where we're going from here, because
That was easy.
Number 6, I think we agreed on already.
my only question is, product delivery by tractor trailer is permitted during these hours, but are you assuming all your products will be delivered by tractor trailer, or is there going to be some products delivered by smaller, but still what might be?
Oh, that's fuel delivery. Fuel delivery will always be
And then the
attractive.
product delivery by tractor trailer and trash removal is only during certain Are there ever going to be products delivered by some other vehicle other than a tractor trailer?
Pollock uses a 30-foot box truck most of the time, and they're going to be the supplier. J. Pollock,
Is that what the
grocery
client said
supplier.
last
yeah.
time?
That's what I thought.
So you're
Why not?
going to have the J. Pollock is going to deliver to the convenience.
Was there a specific reason why the clause by tractor trailer was added, or was it?
Why
You've
do you
got
find
4
so
businesses
particular
there, so there's going to be 4 deliveries. All you're addressing here is the tractor trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, a 30-footer coming in, box truck at a store like that's going to be a fast delivery, less than 20 minutes probably. But I mean, the fact is, I don't even know if we want to address that. It's not going to be big. Dunkin' Donuts gets a delivery. They tend to have trailer trucks anyway, even for delivering napkins for crying out loud.
I think, this is sort of a business operation question. I can just clarify it with my client.
Well, can we just strike by tractor trailer?
Probably. But
Well, I think we want to strike fuel delivery and just say product delivery, because they're getting a lot of products. You've got the fast foods, they're getting provisions.
Well, originally it was worded to read fuel delivery, product delivery, and trash removal is during these hours.
Yeah.
And then the change was made to say fuel delivery is only between 7 and 6. And product delivery and trash removal is only during the following hours. And then the clause of by tractor trailer, but
it may be just the product delivery.
period.
Product deliveries, I don't think we can restrict from 7 p.m. to 6, because
It's not.
It's not worded that way. I'm just suggesting that we accept his change without the words
I'm
by
not sure
tractor
why
trailer.
tractor trailer was.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Well, see, when I read that, I'm just reading fuel delivery, and that's the only way fuel delivery comes is a tractor trailer.
Right, but that's, fuel
I
delivery
know,
happens here. and
I
then-
see what you're saying.
Well, the only other possibility is that my client may be thinking that with respect specifically to tractor trailers, just like with respect specifically to fuel deliveries, that there are certain hours of operation, but any other delivery is unrestricted. So smaller
Right.
vehicles, box trucks, et
I
cetera,
think you
that
want,
is
I don't think you want to be that
not
ambiguous here. I think you want to put that in there.
What in? What do you want in, Dan?
Well, I guess then so product delivery by tractor trailer, you keep that edit, and then add a sentence, I guess, all other deliveries will be, I don't know, my client may want another set of hours for all other deliveries.
Yeah, I would think.
Or he may have been thinking that would be unrestricted.
I would unrestrict other deliveries, because there's other businesses there, and
No,
tractor
but-
trailers aren't coming in, but the only tractor trailer that may come in, I've seen a lot of small Dunkin' Donuts getting delivered by a tractor trailer. They're only getting maybe 10 cases of something, whether it be cups, lids, whatever, but it's still a tractor trailer.
So maybe all other deliveries shall not be restricted in time, perhaps.
Well, do you have a problem with the box truck delivery type vehicles?
No, the
During
box
peak
truck
hours.
delivery, Pollup's not going to deliver at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Not during peak hours.
during peak hours. That's the point. These are all during the non-peak hours. What we avoided were peak hours. That's how that was written. So do we, I mean, we aren't going to prohibit all box trucks because there'll be some coming, but do we want to also make sure that the ones that are coming directly to the site for delivery purposes aren't also adding to the peak hour traffic?
No, he probably won't get more than one delivery a week from Pollock in that 30-foot box truck.
So is there a
I would just say,
problem?
I would keep tractor trailers only. So if Dunkin' Donuts is making a delivery of 10 or 15 odd cases, you don't have a tractor trailer coming into the grounds there. I think that's what you want to keep out. A 30-foot box truck, I wouldn't restrict. You're only going to get that once a week from Pollock anyway, probably.
Okay.
You're going to get trucks for the food place from a provision supplier delivering some produce and meats for their sandwiches and stuff. That's going to be in a box truck. You're only going to get that once a week, twice a week, that's it. I don't think it's a problem. I wouldn't restrict that. That's my feeling.
So that means the edit that I provided with respect to the tractor trailer would remain.
Whoever has a tractor trailer has to come the time that you have 7 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Right.
7 p.m. to 6
And then for clarification, an additional sentence, all other deliveries shall not be restricted in time.
Unless Marguerite wants to put in the rush hours, but
That's what this is, though.
That's
Dan. That's how it's
logistically,
written.
it's going to be impossible, logistically.
It's written that way. And when we've restricted delivery for other sites, we haven't specified the type of vehicle. The Cumberland Farms, we put in restricted hours of delivery, both of the Cumberland Farms recently.
Are these the same hours we put in for Cumberland Farms?
No, because I think it was based on their peak hour time frame too, but these were the hours that were discussed at the hearing.
Actually, he put these hours in, we didn't put the hours in.
So,
If he has a food store, he's gonna have trash removal once a day for the waste, more than likely.
my suggestion would just be to keep it as just applying to all deliveries or trash removal and not specify the vehicle that's involved, because I think the point is that we're
Yeah.
trying to avoid peak hours for delivery purposes.
I would just have to confirm.
You want to restrict delivery of straight box trucks to a certain time?
Just
During
to
peak
what's
hours.
here, because these are not the peak hours. These are non-peak hours, what's listed here. I would just simply
Right.
strike the words "by tractor trailer,"
By truck, yeah, right.
and then I would leave the rest of his changes as he's got them. I don't have a
10
problem
to,
with
10 to
any.
3 for a box truck?
Huh?
It would just, any vehicle.
Yeah.
I think every time we've suggested delivery limitations, petitioners have been very willing to submit to those restrictions, so I'm ask his client, I'm sure
Yeah.
they won't have a problem
Yep.
with it.
Let me just ask the client.
So just to clarify, you can get a delivery of like if he has a grocery truck coming, 10 to 3 is okay or not okay?
It is
It is
okay.
okay.
It is okay.
Yeah, explicitly okay.
Peak hours are what.
When-
being
set- are set-
avoided.
is
Yeah,
set-
otherwise, you're going to pay a premium from the suppliers. Pay for this one.
Yeah, but the problem that goes along with that, and I don't know who you're talking about, but I used to buy from Garber.
Garber's the same, just like Pollock, same thing.
Okay. Garber used to come to me 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And now you're restricting him.
He would, yeah,
But he
right,
comes with a box truck.
right. And Garber's down the street, and you're
Right.
probably the first
That was
stop.
the first
Pollock's
stop,
coming
yeah.
out of Worcester.
Oh, okay.
Well,
If
they're-
he-
they're
I've
gonna
never heard
go
of
better
Pollock,
than
so I
we
don't
do.
know.
They may have some early morning
But
period.
usually when you ask for early deliveries, you get a pay.
Well, we're-
Everybody wants an early
Okay.
delivery.
We're just all
And I don't
speculating
know.
now, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
would
will
allow it anytime.
confirm, but I understand Marguerite's request. I will confirm.
I would allow it 10 to 3 for sure. All
Yeah, that's
deliveries.
how it's worded.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely
Yeah.
allowing 10 to 3.
Right.
So what are we striking? Just tractor trailer?
By tractor trailer.
Potentially.
Okay, I'll check with my client.
Okay.
Your thoughts on number 7?
Yeah, just have an edit for number 7. MADOT should be MASS, Mass DOT.
That's, we haven't changed it out, right?
No,
Did you
it's,
call
I
it
think,
mass?
yeah, I did. I think it's just that one place has it.
Okay.
And you, and 3, the last sentence of 3, you had it correct, so.
Oh, I see.
Now, in terms, I mean, it is going to be subject to MassDOT approval, and on base what we were discussing, I think it should be part of the original condition that the sidewalk should be constructed to the satisfaction of the town engineer, and then the MassDOT approval will be kind of embedded within it. So the request has to be made up front.
I lost you there. What are you saying, the town engineer has to approve that before he goes to Mass DOT?
Basically, him and the, I mean, they're going to go with the town engineer to the MassDOT with a request for approval. But it should be the intention that we're proceeding with the sidewalk improvements. So I would, I mean, I wouldn't have problems striking out, taking those changes that you have subject to MassDOT approval. Just say the sidewalk along the site shall be reconstructed in compliance with Wheel-Tram. And then, because everything else is, you know, everything is included under the premise that the town engineer has to approve everything, right?
Question.
I think the sidewalks are a separate condition, so they're not, they don't fall under
Right.
the town engineer approval of
So,
that condition.
Maybe we can add that to be subject to the town engineer approval or direction.
Subject to Mass DOT and town engineer approval?
Is that what you're saying?
That's fine.
Same thing, yeah.
Someone should be responsible for the approval on that one.
Sidewalk, etc. will be also in the drawing which town engineer has to approve it. Right. What it means now. Town engineer only approves the drawing which is submitted. So what is it? He always approves everything.
I think the only concern why I'm saying that is that if we are going to go through that RSA study and the process, so
Mass approval of Mass dot is different than approval. As the town engineer will approve everything which is submitted to him. That's his responsibility. That's his job. So his name is not required really, in my mind.
Do we really need to mention town engineer?
Well,
I mean, the town engineer approval in this instance is really more for compliance purposes. Is that to ensure that the sidewalk is going to be done? I
Can we-
mean, that's
okay,
what I am implying.
At the end of the sentence then, can we just say town engineer shall ensure compliance
To
with
ensure the
such
compliance.
installation?
That's his responsibility anyway.
Well, if it's, I mean, if the wording is indicating that it shall be reconstructed, so technically we are going to reconstruct those sidewalks. And,
Provide a mass
but the subject to the MassDOT approval
That has to, that.
has to be
precedes-
approved by MassDOT, yes, I
Right.
agree.
So add in a sentence at the end instead that says the town engineer shall ensure compliance with this condition?
Uh,
I-
Yeah, That would be helpful.
That work?
That would be helpful.
Instead of the and town engineer?
Right.
Let me ask you this, Marguerite.
Uh-huh.
I hate going back to it, but on number 3, we put a caveat in there that if the town engineer doesn't like something, there's consequences. We put in here with the approval of the town engineer on these, on the sidewalk and ramps, et cetera, and the town engineer doesn't like it, does this fall under the same caveat, or should it be included in this number 7?
That's up to the rest of the board members. I don't have a problem not putting the same, I'm okay not including that same caveat here, because I don't think that's, maybe I'm
It's a-
wrong,
it's a
but I don't
safety-
think it's as instrumental to,
It's a safety feature.
but there is sidewalk ramps there now. There are sidewalks there. They have,
Right, there are ramps
there
now,
are
right
ramps
and
now.
there are
It's not like
sidewalks.
Okay.
it's an unsafe,
This is a little different.
It's
Right.
not ripping those up.
if there wasn't ramps there now, if there wasn't sidewalks, I'd have a different opinion, but I know
Okay.
it's there.
You're not
it's
touching the
just
sidewalks?
Upgrading it.
We are.
Yeah,
Well,
the
they
conditions
are
are
touching the
like that.
sidewalks, so.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
gonna, they have Mass DOT approval for the ramps anyway, so.
Okay.
The ramps might not be approved as of right now because of how many years they've been there.
That's how I see the difference. Dan,
Okay.
are we looking at 10?
Yep.
So in light of the potential change to number
Town
3,
engineer then?
do we need the clause provided however anymore?
Engineer now?
No, they took it out.
What are you talking about, December 31st, 2016 provided?
Like,
However,
this is about a lapse, so the rights lapse if you haven't begun construction on or before December 31st, 2016.
Yeah,
I don't
this
think
is-
we need the
this is different
proviso
though.
anymore.
Because this is construction of our, like the building. This is
Right.
general construction.
Right. Well, no, if the rights, if the, has to be recorded and the use has not begun on or before December 31st, 2016. If you're nervous about making that time frame, because now we have changed, potentially changed the language of condition number 3, so that's not going to hold us up anymore. So if you're nervous about changing that time frame, I would just come up with a more reasonable time frame. But I don't think that we would want to create another proviso here that's got contrary language to what we have in number 3.
I don't see how it's contrary.
Because if we've got in number 3, you're going to check with your clients, but the town engineer is going to have oversight with an ability to suspend and reissue. Are we going to put all that language back here in number 10, or can we just set a date and leave it at that? If you think the date is a little bit too short, then come up with a longer date.
Date meaning the December 31st.
First, 2016.
Okay, maybe push out the date.
What, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, what do you?
Push out the date and then strike the rest of the.
Strike provided, however. We've still got to talk about the last sentence, but strike the part about provided, however, up until the period, construction activities.
How far would you be willing to go out?
What do you think is realistic?
Well, typically, special permits, 2 years.
Right.
This December 31st, I think, is based on what the town does with respect to renewal. Does this go back to the renewal?
I think it's all tied into the renewal piece
Okay.
and collapsing. So it's fine. I mean, I think that if you want to give 2 years,
We've done 3 years before.
yeah. So 2017,
Yeah.
fine.
And we're getting rid of the provided after that, you said?
Through construction activities.
Yeah.
This is longer than the hearing.
Okay.
Wouldn't have to work till six.
It would have helped too if we had this beforehand.
I was hoping I wouldn't even have to come here.
Would have been easy, would have been fast meeting.
I just got one from Foxborough, like that. Much more complicated project.
What does Foxborough know?
Would involve the craft.
So my sense of the last sentence is that that's sort of tied into your request to delete 11,
Right,
which I think is,
which I'd like to just strike it. My client, after talking with my client, they just want to strike it in its entirety.
strike 11 and
Right.
put in the sentence here in 10.
Well, and not even have the revised.
Not even have the revised 11?
Well, I guess we can talk about the revised, but his first strong preference is to not have 11 at all, period.
What do we do with that original version?
Looking
What do we do with the original version? Original ways of-
11 seems pretty fair for both sides, so.
Which 11? The one that I inserted or the one that?
Last page.
The original? No, the last page, the one I inserted.
Seems pretty reasonable to both sides.
Okay, so 11 has two different pieces to it, though. 11 has both the,
When we talk about the expiration.
all right. 11 has both a expiration requirement and a transferability restriction. So I think I think you've done two different things in 10. You've addressed one of it through the language in 10 and the other one through striking and possibly revising 11.
Right, which in 10, I could even strike what I recommended in 10. If we strike your original 11.
So,
Well, what we've done in the past is,
Well, special permit goes to whoever applies for it anyway, so it would be null and void anyway.
If we sell,
Yeah.
I disagree.
Huh?
Runs with the land.
No, I don't think it does, actually. I don't agree with you there. I went and looked into it a little bit more. I think special permit goes to the permit holder.
The permit holder does.
Okay, well, then in that case, I would want to have the language that I set forth in 10. I mean, the statute allows for the imposition of certain conditions, including time limitation, transfer of ownership, conditions on a special permit. It's not mandatory, and if you don't have that, then I think this would run with the land. It would not be personal. But to make it clear, then I
don't
propose
think so.
the language in section 10.
think special permit goes to the holder.
Yeah, I think in this case it would go to the holder. So if we put the language in number 10 that you've asked for, and you went to sell this, you wouldn't want to have to come back and talk to the board about that?
Right. I'd want a successor to be able to, that's going to operate the exact same uses, which are not going to change. It's going to be, there's only so many things you could do at this site, to be able to seamlessly do that. This is not a single site, which is a single parcel, single site that has a single use. My client has over 1,600 sites, and this, like the renewal restriction, it would be very difficult to track, number one, from an administrative standpoint. The other factor is that when my client enters into transactions where there's a conveyance of assets, oftentimes it's a large bulk sale. I think when they acquired this site, it was part of a multi-site acquisition. Extramart sold a number of sites to my client. And it would be a very difficult situation if restrictions like this are on its sites. And from the town's perspective, I don't see much in the way of harm or risk to the town. Any type of conveyance from my client to a potential buyer, the buyer is not going to be some small shop operator whom the town is going to have issue with in terms of not complying with this special permit. It's going to be an operator that is highly sophisticated, probably has other sites as well, and has been in the business of professionally running sites like this that have multiple uses. So my client he's indicated to me that this is just a restriction that doesn't work for this type of, for the corporate structure that they have, and for the number of sites. I mean, Shell, they switch all the time between Shell, and Mobil, and Getty. I don't really see it's a gas station, it's a convenience store, it's a Dunkin' Donuts.
Who's getting the permit?
Global Montello Group Corp.
Who?
The Global Montello Group Corp.
Okay, so they're going to be the owner of the permit.
Right. They're the
Now,
developer.
so it's not the individual. So if he was to lease this to somebody else, they just have to come before us. It's like a change of a bar license, or what do you call that, liquor license. They have to, I mean, the way I've always seen it, that the person gets the special permit. So if Global Montello Group got the permit, which is who's asking for it, and then 5 years from now, he sells it, or he leases it to somebody, then they have to come in and just have the transfer of the special permit. It's not like they have to go through the whole thing again, but they have to go before the zoning board to get the special permit in their name. That's the way I've always seen it.
What about language that this special permit is not transferable without further approval of the zoning board of appeals, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld?
Well, that's what it always was.
But at least it's in there for your client's protection, so they don't feel like they have to go through and ask for, it's not a reapplication for a special permit, it's just approval of the zoning board.
Administrative approval?
Well, that you'd come before us as under this, and just a letter would be submitted indicating that you're looking to transfer the special permit and you're seeking the approval of the board in accordance.
When I took over an Exxon station, I had to come before the town to get the permit for it, that I was running it. It was my license, actually. But Exxon had the special permit. Just I became the manager of it. Basically what it is.
What if we just, provided notice of the change in the event of the sale? Provide notice to the board.
We still have to question them anyway, don't we?
Huh?
We still have to question the new owners.
I'm trying to figure out what you're doing here. Is Global Montello going to build this and then sell it? Or is he going to run it for a while?
No, Global Montello is the developer, and it has all the rights with respect to all of the operations that occur at the site.
And he's going to maintain that.
Right, but at some point, potentially, there could be a transfer of ownership.
Right, and then they would have to come before the board for a special permit rollover. Not to build the place again and stuff.
Not if this condition is.
Huh?
Not if this condition is in here.
Well, that's not what our bylaw says.
Well, I think what Marguerite was suggesting was that it's transferable. Well, it's not transferable, except we'll approve the transfer as long as, we won't withhold approval unreasonably, which is a pretty low bar, I think. So it's really just a minor administrative burden on the seller, or rather the buyer, to gain approval of the rollover. So rather than saying not transferable, it's not transferable without consent of the ZBA, which consent would not be reasonably withheld or delayed.
Well, we've never unreasonably held one anyway.
Right. Well, he has
That's,
some affirmative language that his client will be comfortable with.
Well, that's fine. But
I think that would reflect the practice that the board implements. It's probably fair to add language like that in the future.
Yeah, it's
For all conditions.
very minor burden, I think, on their behalf.
I don't think any of you said it.
Administrative, no public hearing.
Yeah, it would be because you'd be operating under this condition, so it would be a letter to the board saying, we're seeking approval in accordance with condition 11, special permit.
It's not even much more difficult than the notice you're suggesting, I think. We just need to respond to it, essentially.
Right, just a matter of a change of who gets the permit.
Okay, so what's going on now? He's going to resubmit this?
He's got to check with his client a few things.
Right.
Right, okay,
So number 10 now will just, the way number 10 will be edited is that we will simply change the date to December 31st, 2017, and delete every other suggested change after that.
You're going to gonna do the rates the grant contain?
That would be, because that addresses that was the suggested language instead of transferability restriction. But instead, we're gonna put into a number 11, this is something you've got to obviously check with your client on, but the special permit is not transferable without approval of the zoning board of appeals, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld. And then the last, withheld or delayed, right?
Conditioned or denied.
Withheld, conditioned, or denied?
Or delayed.
Delayed. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't have a problem at all.
And then the last piece, too, that you have submitted to us for consideration is to delete
11.
the reapplication portion that 11 talks about, and instead just have your new language in 11, which I understand maybe now you don't even want to have that, but as you probably heard tonight, the board typically puts at least a one-time renewal provision in their special permits. And it looks like instead of doing that, you're suggesting that there be an ability for the building commissioner to give you an opportunity to cure any issues. And if you don't do that, to give the board the right to revoke the special permit, where you have the right to be heard and present evidence. And the board has to have a supermajority at that time. That's instead of having the renewal language that we typically use.
Yeah, and actually, I'd like to.
Not even have that.
Strike it all.
So there would be no renewal and no language about an
11
alternative.
is, my addition, my insertion is, to some extent, it's somewhat redundant. It basically says that if there's a default under the special permit,
Right.
that it could be revoked. Well, the building inspector can issue a cease and desist or take any number of actions.
Right.
I was trying to come a little bit in between, but it's somewhat unnecessary. But the renewal is much more of a concern actually than the transfer of ownership for my client. In large part based on the fact that, again, this is not an existing structure where someone is simply coming in and either changing the use or even continuing a new use or expanding a pre-existing use upon which a special permit was granted. We are tearing it down, putting millions of dollars into it, taking all the time with the permitting process, not only here but with Mass DOT, which is going to be very costly as well. And then for the potential for all of that work to be completely wiped away because we're not renewed. And I understand, I think Mary Martin and maybe Tom McGrath explained that this is more of an administrative annual thing that happens with respect to renewing a number of new special permits, sometimes on a one-time basis, sometimes on a once every 3-year basis. And my client is just, that's a non-starter for my client. That was, he cannot, he would have to go up to his higher-ups to get approval, and he knows that would not happen. There's also a concern with respect to lending and financing. Oftentimes these sites are subject to mortgages which are behind them have very intricate financing, and this is, if I were a lender and I saw that a site was going to be rebuilt and there was a construction loan component to it, I wouldn't lend on that in a second. I wouldn't have to think twice about that. So there's a financeability concern. For those reasons, I think it's not appropriate here.
Administrative, most of the people that come back are the same owners. You indicated you're the developer, not the operator. You may be the operator on a short-term basis, but generally you're not operators, correct?
We're both. We're building the site and we're operating.
Probably look for a new operator once it's built. Is that the business you're in mostly?
There, well,
The
yeah.
developers mostly.
However you want to look at it, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
the main business consists of the gas station component. There's distribution and then obviously the convenience store. The fast food order is, it's been around for a while, but that's also a business.
Now, when you, if you develop this and operate it, you have 4 stores. They're all under Global Montello, correct?
Right.
All right, when you sell it, do you sell it in whole, or can you sell in parts?
If there was an asset sale, then all of the interests in the land, the ownership of the land, any leasehold interests or subleases that are in place would be transferred over. They would be assigned and assumed by a buyer, if that's what you're asking.
So you can't sell the, I'll take the Dunkin' Donuts, because it's the only one I remember the name of, or someone, Country Kitchen, whatever it is. Could you sell those independently?
Sell them? No.
I don't have an issue with striking the expiration or renewal portion of it.
So do we need a continuance on this? Or does he have to?
You okay with striking the need for a renewal?
I don't have a problem with that. We're not talking some little mom and pop operation here.
I don't have a problem with striking it. The only thing is that I'd like something in there that if there was infractions, that the building inspector, whoever he might be, would have the right to go in and do something, which he can anyway, because he can go in and shut anybody down. But it would have to be, the only good thing about where this is going is it's strictly business over there, so it's not like where the car wash went and everybody's complaining about the noise from the kids with radios and banging of stuff. I don't really
We setting a precedence that we don't want to go down that slippery slope, though.
Well, that's the only thing I'm thinking
Because,
about,
you know-
because we've made everybody else
And most
got
of
a
them were
special
most
permit.
of them were owner-operators. We've got a developer here.
Did IKEA have a renewal provision?
I don't think so.
No. Who?
IKEA, I wasn't on the board when
We
IKEA
don't-
was permitted.
Right, talking about the warehouse.
IKEA didn't have a permit, I mean, a time limit, but IKEA did have to come before the board, and he had to go before, I think, the selectmen. They had to give reports on what they were doing and continuing. IKEA was a very good neighbor. They did everything they said they were gonna do, plus some.
So in
Okay,
order to be
all right.
consistent
Let
with
me-
what the board has
Wait a
been.
minute, let me ask you a question. You just did a case for a home, what do you call it, for the dog lady there.
Dog grooming, yeah.
Did you give her a time limit?
I didn't want to, but they did.
It's a special permit.
Yes.
Kids sports
And
got
we-
one too.
And we gave a special permit to one on Turnpike Street.
The only reason I didn't want to give her, put an extension, because she's already existing, she has an existing business. She's just moving the permit from one location to another. That's the
But
reason
we
why I
did it
didn't see.
with kids sports too.
Kids sports too, exactly.
I mean,
Is there a way to make the language more administrative? I mean, if we could find a way to make it clear that it's an administrative action?
it basically is.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I realize that, but you don't feel that that's,
What's the standard on conditions renewed?
What we've done is, when somebody came in and started something new, which this would be, it's a 1-year permit. Then after the first year, if there's no complaints and no problems, what they used to do is go to a 3-year. Sometimes if you go to the 1 year and there's no problems at all, then we just give it a non-expiration date. Depending on what happens. I mean,
Some applicants are comfortable with, I guess, the fact that, my understanding is there has not been a denial of a renewal.
Correct.
the only time there was a denial of a renewal if they didn't come, if they didn't send a letter in and didn't even ask for a renewal.
Okay.
That's the only.
I want to be the first, and I don't know, my
Didn't we
client
give
was
the-
just,
I think we even gave the car wash
any recent decision that I've been involved in drafting has had it in there.
and that was the car wash in Cumberland Farms, right?
I'm not
Come
sure
on.
if the car wash had one, I don't know.
Honeydew
I don't think
did
the
not
Cumberland
have it.
Farms.
I don't think, they didn't have one.
They didn't have
Who?
one.
there were a number
Cumberland
that
Farms.
did not.
Cumberland's and,
We didn't put one.
Car-
Existing uses
Oh.
didn't have one.
Then I
Honeydew Donuts did not have one.
never built one.
No, but it got approved.
Well, considering what they're gonna spend and everything, I don't think they're gonna make a dump, so I wouldn't have a problem not with letting it go.
I don't think the problem is with these guys. Problem is, if they sell it, we don't know anything about the new guys.
Well, they're gonna have to come before us anyway. If they sell it, whoever sells it, they still have to administratively do a special permit, because it's gotta be
yeah,
transferred.
they got to transfer the special permit. If they transfer the special permit to somebody that,
Oh, I thought he was against that.
Oh, he-
I am against it, but I'll talk.
But
I'm
did-
gonna talk
yeah,
to
but
my
that's-
client about it.
That's the way it is.
that's the law. I mean, that's what we have to go by. That's in our book.
In the zoning bylaw.
Yep.
That's the slippery slope I'm talking about.
That's
We don't
not
have
true.
a precedent.
Because
Right.
under 48, that's not true.
Under what?
48.
Oh, it's under
I agree with you there, but
10, 11, let me just see that.
Burger King. Where the powers section, duties of the.
Administration enforcement.
It's a good thing Barry was. Closing up? Closing shop?
No, I was apparently on microphones went off the entire time. I was picking up off of different ones.
When did there's no sound on
Previously approved permit.
He's got it turned way up.
Status of approved permit shall be determined in section 6 of the zoning act. Permit time limits, it's not renewable. Recall seeing anything like that? That was in this book.
It's my understanding that special permits are granted to the permit holder. Variances run with the land. No, I don't recall seeing it in this book necessarily. I think in some of our special permits, like the in-law special permit is particular to a person, even though it's granted to the owner of the home, it's only for the benefit of the in-law person. If that person deceases, then there's a requirement to notify the town. That language is in here.
Sounds very specific.
But
I know variances, there's case law that says that with respect to a variance, that it can, that a board cannot restrict a variance by transfer of ownership.
Right.
But special permits, the statute says that, it's quite clear that it says a board may impose conditions with respect to time, as well as other types of conditions, but it's not mandatory. So it otherwise runs with the land. I mean, I'm going to talk to my client about what was proposed with respect to the transfer of ownership.
Well, we have time to look at this anyway, so.
Well, it depends. I mean, I guess it depends on what process we want to take. I think the last question really is on, just to be clear, is the board's position that it's okay not to have a renewal requirement? And I believe
I don't have a problem with that.
you're looking to strike your proposed 11 as well,
Right.
right?
The building inspector can act as the building inspector as well as the zoning enforcement officer to enforce any conditions or
law,
provisions
right.
under the special permit.
I don't have a problem with you striking number 11. So if you're comfortable, Sherm,
No.
would there be no
Well,
renewability?
I'm hoping we can do it by email and.
Well, we're gonna, no, you can send the draft and we're gonna vote on it the next meeting is what's gonna happen.
I don't have a problem with with what they're gonna spend. The only problem that I have is who's gonna run it and what's gonna happen. I mean, this is gonna be a 24-hour station, but I don't have, I mean, if it was a matter of putting or not putting a time limit on it, I mean, the building inspector will have he has the opportunity to shut it down if something's wrong. So I don't have a problem with that. It would be up to the board, but I would allow the time limit to be waived.
Me too.
How do you explain that to the dog groomer?
Well,
Or
I can
anybody else?
explain it two ways. Number one, I didn't sit on the case. Number two, dog grooming, we've had troubles with some different places. And with a gas station, I mean, they're gonna, when he's telling you he's gonna spend a lot of money. I know what it costs to put tanks in, and I know what it costs to put a building up. So, they're gonna be spending a lot of money over there, and he's not gonna,
Plus, that's a neighborhood business as opposed to the business zone.
I mean, I thought we gave one to Cumberland Farms. If we didn't give one to Cumberland Farms, I've got no problem with
That's
that.
it.
Steve said no.
I don't.
We didn't for 2 out of the 3 gas stations, I think.
Really? To go back and look.
Oh, well, Gus, yeah.
I thought we have been all along, but
There's, I know a couple of cases we definitely did not. And I think I asked you at one point, you said because the use was existing or something like that. So
we have to go back and look.
I'd be making
Okay, so,
Some time limit, is it? New people still have to come forward to us, Sean?
yeah, oh yeah, it's still a special permit. I mean, they still have to apply for the permit. I mean, it's basically administrative, because they're not gonna sell it to somebody that is gonna run it down. We granted 4141.
Well, I guess now we get to the question that Gary's been asking all along about where do we go from here? So I think you, as a board, we've certainly vetted this enough that we could make changes tonight and sign with those changes.
41.
This one, 4140.
4140.
Or,
But I think,
He needs
but,
to.
yeah, I mean, but that's up to him because he's got to give us an extension if he wants to go back to his client.
I'll give you an extension.
Okay.
I can't, some of these I cannot unilaterally approve.
Okay. No, I
So-
understand that. I'm just,
So that just means me sending a letter to Mary?
you can do it right here. We'll give you a piece of paper and you can write an extension tonight.
So then depending on what his client is okay with, do we want to have him propose a second set of revisions? And then send them to us by email?
You tell me, or would it be easier for you to make the revisions and send them over to his client to look at?
What would you prefer?
Well,
I'd prefer to draft them.
Sure. What do you want to do, Steve? I mean, what do we want as a board? Do we want the revisions to come from us or from?
well, we're gonna read them anyway.
What we're suggesting, if his client is okay with those, I'm okay with seeing his revisions first, and if we're gonna tweak them a little, fine. If his client isn't amenable to some of the things we've suggested, then any revisions we make are gonna be discarded anyway, so let's do what he has to come forth with first.
That's fine.
It's okay with me.
So do we want to have you be, we can make a motion for Attorney Lee to work directly with you on drafts of the decision. And then at least there might be a little bit more of a
Yeah, we
concrete
can do back and forth.
document.
Yeah. In terms of the signing, I guess, again, because we've been pushing it out for so long, and granted, we are before the planning board, but we would like to get past this board. Would we be able to authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the members, subject to the members agreeing on the final version? Just logistically, I'm not sure how this town works in terms of, some towns allow members to come into the office to sign, but then even that could be a delay and vacation period. We're just trying to expedite, once we're all in agreement, expedite the logistical signing and filing with the town clerk.
Actually, he must have been talking to Alana. Because, Alana,
I don't know.
Alana, town council.
Oh, no.
Because she was proposing that, on some of the things that we get because, but I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't sign this until after the next meeting because I'd want to hash it over with everybody here.
Can that be done by email? I mean, if the changes are, we may go back and forth a little
It
bit,
depends. I
but.
mean, if it's exactly what we've talked about here today, then maybe, but I mean, if there's any changes at all, I'm
What's
not
our
gonna
next
be able to
meeting?
unilaterally approve that, so.
No, I understand that. My
Yeah.
guess, I'm assuming that once you and I get into agreement on a form, that will be distributed. And if we're not in agreement, then you'll distribute
Right.
where we're in disagreement.
I mean, I'd probably then send what we have currently to Mary. Mary would distribute it to
Mhm.
us, and then,
When's our next meeting, the 6th?
4th.
4th? June 4th.
I love coming to Stoughton.
Huh?
I love coming to Stoughton.
Well, if.
But I feel like I'm gonna have to
If-
physically
if,
be here
um,
again, and I know that's a lame excuse,
If
but I
you-
feel like we're very close also.
Well,
Well, yeah, it depends
that's
on
what I'm
what's-
saying, if you two work this out and you're both amicable with it, and then we just bring it up at the next meeting, there should be no problem at all.
Yeah,
But is
Steve's
it-
reporting that he's okay with the language, then.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll give Mary the draft, and I'll give her, I can give her my thoughts on it, and she can distribute it to everyone in the mail, or however we want to do that, and if everyone looks at it and says, we're fine with it, then we can approve it at the next meeting, or.
I mean, we could at least let Mary know if the people might have some concerns that they want to discuss with the board, so you'd know whether you have to come down or not. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, I'll need to know if there are concerns, certainly.
Right, but we could say there's no concerns as well, and then it would just be a matter of taking it up if you stick around for another 10 minutes afterwards, you'll see us do with several other decisions. Taking it up, adopting it.
But
the vote, and then
But I may
sign.
not have to come if.
That's my point.
It's not just me coming.
No,
It's
I
more.
know.
It's more having, once it's in agreement, having the thing signed before the next meeting. It's another 14 days.
It has to come to the meeting.
I feel like when we've
You
had
don't
that happen
sign-
before, we're further ahead with an agreement. That's my sense of it, right? When we've ever in the past had authorized the chair to sign, it's been when we've got,
Right.
When we've
Clear
already gone
understanding of
through
what-
all of it.
Right.
And
I think
and everybody's
realistically,
agreed on it.
All get into agreement, it's gonna be at least a week to 10 days anyway, until we're all in agreement and having a draft between you and me.
Well, actually, 4 of us.
right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe bringing it up at the meeting in 2 weeks from when is the next meeting?
The 4th,
The 4th.
which is 2 weeks.
Probably roughly when we would have come to an agreement anyway, even if everything is perfect. So I don't think you're losing
Really?
all that much time by having us actually sign it at the meeting.
Okay. Have you done that but you've done this before, it sounds like, Marguerite.
We've had the chair sign
When you-
decisions before when there's been when we haven't ended
Right,
the
they-
meeting with,
We have one dissenter anyways, so
Mm.
there's issues.
I think
Well-
when, I think
Right,
when
but I
I've
mean, we've
signed.
gone through a vetting process
What's
on the
that?
decision tonight, I thought.
we've never, when
Marguerite.
we've had a
Okay.
chair sign a decision
Yes.
before, we haven't had the need for
Want the drive-through.
the petitioner's representative to go and check with the client to
doesn't
make
want the
sure
drive-through.
conceptual language that hasn't even been seen yet is,
We've already been in agreement.
is approved. So I think that we're not yet at the point where we've typically been when we've had a
Okay,
chair sign.
right. So that's with respect to the chair signing. But is there a possibility that even if we don't nominate or assign the chair with the authority to sign on behalf of the board, that if we come to an agreement tomorrow or Tuesday, that the members could come in before the next meeting to sign it, so that we can get filed and...
We'd have to vote on it.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is that to do that, I think there'd need to be a deliberation, which can only happen at a meeting. I don't feel like this decision is in a draft enough right now. I think it could, well, if you want that to happen, I think the board could do that tonight. We can say, here's the decision we want.
But
To
that's
adopt.
without you going
Well,
back
it's
to
just-
your client
We're
and
trying
saying.
to be deferential.
Subject to my client.
Right.
So
No, I mean,
I
that's the
think
point. We're
best
trying
we
to be
can do is
deferential
that
to your
there's
clients.
a remote possibility of having it approved before the next meeting, but I think it's unlikely.
okay, I think that's what I want to hear. I'll convey that to my client. If the decision is close enough to what the group has collectively
I don't know.
agreed upon on this side of the table,
But-
and it's conveyed in Steve's decision, then maybe it could be signed,
There's a
you're saying.
remote possibility.
Okay. Hey, I'm just
I
trying.
don't know. I mean, if that's the case, then I think you guys should take a motion to that effect, because otherwise I'd be concerned that there's deliberation happening outside of the meeting. I just,
Can't do that.
my sense is that I don't think
I'm not
people are
gonna,
ready
I'm
to-
not gonna, I'm not gonna agree to that.
Okay.
All right, well, no possibility.
Okay.
I mean, normally I would, but there's too many issues here. There's way too many issues here.
The problem.
To what date am I extending this?
You have to give them more than, you can't give it just a Friday. You gotta give it to the Monday or Tuesday after.
Yeah, the meeting's the 4th, 5th.
She yelled at me.
7th, 8th. June 9th.
Not really, she didn't yell at me, but yeah. She said, tell Sherm. 'Cause
Tell
that's-
Sherm.
yeah.
She calls me every
That
day.
was the one that we lost the decision, so.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. The one that I took home.
I wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna rat you
That's
up.
okay, you can rat me out. There were so many papers that night.
Oh, I know.
There were a
This is-
ton.
I've done it before too, so.
Does this need to be with respect to both cases?
I mean,
No, the
You
first
just
case
voted
is
on the
already.
variance.
yeah, it's
The
up to
the
you.
first one's all set.
Yeah. I'll be sending Mary a clean copy and she'll file that tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
It's your call, it's up to you. But we can get the first one filed tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's approved subject to just the revisions. Oh, yeah. Just put some signs free floating in the air. That's it.
Two, I thought it was going to be another day.
The special permit is what case number?
4140.
Sorry, what date?
June 9th, a bunch of stuff.
You have the original one back, right?
Right here.
Okay, good. That was how
What's that?
they did wrong the last time.
Me?
Mary had me go home and check
You
my
mean-
book.
No, they-
Raj, were you on,
But
wait,
we
Raj, were
voted-
you sitting on any of these?
Oh, wait.
Wait, Raj, were you sitting on any of the other ones that are getting signed? So-
No, the drive-through, he said without the drive-through, the
Raj, you're
project
sitting on
is not
24 Water
going through.
Street.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotta wait till we call that.
We voted
We'll do
4-1
that
to allow the drive-through.
Yep.
Today is,
One of our points was it helps the traffic, doesn't hurt the traffic. Because it's taking people that are going left over to the
well,
other Dunkin' Donuts
I think
and
Marguerite says it's,
coming back, you
it's
know,
the
back
intersection.
against the traffic. Or going against the traffic and then going back and getting back in line again.
Even the planning board didn't, oh no, even Susan didn't want that.
Who
And
wants
what-
this?
what-
The drive-through?
Mr. Chairman?
She didn't want the drive-through?
No, he didn't want the left turn out of onto Central Street. But he lost anyway.
Do we have to make a motion on this?
You have to accept the extension?
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. I'll let you read it.
I make a motion that we grant an extension,
Accept an extension.
accept an extension for,
Global
in case
Montella
number,
Group.
for Global Montello Group in case number 4140 to
June 9th.
June 9th, 2015.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See how easy it is, Josh?
I can find it. Use Goodwin?
Send it to me there, sure.
I'll put that,
Oh, we want to make a,
The
we want to make a
extension's
motion
easy.
to
It's
give
the other stuff.
permission for Steve to communicate directly with.
oh, yeah.
I make a motion that
My
in
office
case
was
number
to our framing
4140
guy.
that
Going home to
Steve
Grafton.
Argentieri communicate with
Joshua
Josh.
Lee,
What's his last name?
Lee Smith.
Marguerite
Smith.
calls me Attorney Lee.
Oh, I do.
Steve
don't
calls
I?
me Attorney Smith.
Joshua Smith in
Apologize.
Any
case number
combination of the
4140.
above.
As long as I don't call you late for
Say
supper,
second.
right?
Oh, second.
Was there a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you,
I
everyone.
do call you that, I'm sorry.
Sorry?
Missed the.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good hour. My kids are asleep by now, which is tough, but.
So on half of us.
Cops are on
Grafton.
site tonight. No, it's okay.
Huh? Were you? Grafton, Massachusetts.
Oh, Grafton, oh, well. Yeah, that's a hike.
Slow.
Great place for
Okay.
a Global Montello station.
They just opened a Cumberland.
We'll take up case number 4152, so Faisal can go home. This is a decision for the petitioner Jeffrey Cabral. This is for relief from section 6B, table of dimension and density regulations on 24 Water Street, front and rear setbacks. I wasn't here, so.
Yeah.
Somebody want to make a motion? Am I
Steve,
running
you-
this now, or?
Yeah, you're on it.
Okay. Oh, I can make the motion?
Oh, I'll make a motion to open case number 4152.
Is there, all in favor?
Aye. And I'll make a motion to adopt the decision in case number 4152 as written.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Right.
Motion carries.
I'll let Raj sign first so we can get out of here.
No, that's not mine.
4152 is yours.
No,
Oh, did we do it
4152 is
wrong?
not. Mine is
Right.
4146.
Sorry.
Which one's yours?
4146 here, Faisal.
No, actually, he wasn't on either one of these.
Yeah, he's
No,
on 4150.
4146.
He was on the odd number case.
Oh, he was an alternate.
here.
Oh, no, he was sitting as a board member.
4152
That's right, too.
is you are.
Oh, both of them
you're
were
right
sitting.
here.
That's 40.
No,
Who was missing? Oh,
No, it's you.
What?
4152 is you.
Right.
Oh,
Okay? And 4146 I am.
wait a second.
Yeah.
And I have this one, it's your name.
you're right.
This is 4152, his name, right?
Raj, yeah, doesn't it say that?
Yeah.
Sitting as a,
Show them the Cory. deal that.
yeah, Raj, you're sitting on 4152.
But this is
Oh, yeah.
signature is not mine here.
It does, alternate sitting as board member.
Right. Oh,
Where's the
his
other
copy shows my name.
Oh.
My copy shows his name.
But is this the
copy
original?
Mine is,
No, this is a copy.
Only
It's
the,
draft.
Who's got the original?
I don't know. I don't have it.
I just gave it to you. That's it
I'm
right
only-
there.
This shows Faisal.
Oh. That's for 4152, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Wow.
right. Sorry, Raj, my draft had showed your name too.
Right, right.
No, it is yours.
Okay.
It is mine or his?
I'll,
No,
I'll,
it's
I'll
Faisal's.
sign it. The original is.
I thought I was in one of them. It's 4146, I think.
Okay, but the one I received did also have
I
you
know.
sitting as an
Yeah,
alternate. Sitting as a
Fine.
board member, so I do apologize.
This thing is your name too here.
Yeah, you're,
This is not right.
I am sorry.
I know,
This
it's
one that
fine.
was sent to me had your name here.
May 7th.
Oh.
May 7th.
It did, see?
40.
It had your name here.
41,
Drafted has his
43 or
name.
52?
52 had your
52
name on
years
it.
No,
I
I
have.
wasn't here.
One of them is have my name
Yeah.
and one of them no.
Right.
Draft doesn't have it.
Was I here?
So I
May 7th.
apologize. I don't know why
that's
that
when you
got
were gone.
changed.
This is today's May 21st. So that was the night that,
I went away the 4th. Yeah, I wasn't.
Here is
He's
mine.
not on
Came back to
4152.
tell
The
you.
draft has my name.
Oh, right, the draft has your
Yeah,
name.
but
Yeah, the final has my name.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't have a
I'm
final
sorry.
copy anyway.
That's
Okay.
fine, that's fine.
I'm sorry, Raj, you
That's
could have
okay.
left when you wanted to.
As long as, but
Okay.
41, 46
Well,
is
we're
not
also-
passed now?
No,
No, we have one more.
Yeah, we have
but he's not on that one
4150.
either.
You're not on this one, though.
Okay, so
Somebody
I
want to
can go.
open up
Can't
case
go.
number
I
41?
apologize.
That's all right.
Oh, you gotta change,
No
Second,
problem.
yeah, no,
Safely.
you gotta,
take me off it.
right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, right off the bat on 4150, Sherm was not sitting on the case,
Oh,
Yeah, we waited an hour for you, Sherman.
and
Mary knew I wasn't coming.
right, I just
yeah,
didn't
he
delete that.
he has Faisal on here.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was the alternate, so he's a board
Okay,
member.
so,
I just didn't delete Sherm's name when I drafted it.
okay, so, then you want to make a motion?
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the decision, we approve the variance and approve the decision in case number 4150 as written, with the only change being that we remove
The chairman.
chairman's name from the first page. And Mary
Erase
can
them.
probably do that, right?
Motion to delete
Yeah,
Sherman.
well, I scratched it off, is
That's
that
great.
okay?
Yeah, she can probably fix it. I sent it to her as a Word document.
Oh, it doesn't matter, we signed the
Yeah, we
last
signed the
page.
last page, she can make
Okay.
that change.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just sign that too.
Here, let me sign this
Where'd
first.
your,
I want to get out of here myself.
It's a good thing Barry withdrew, huh?
Oh, we'd have to leave in a half hour anyway.
that's not you.
I know.
Said this was gonna be like a 2.5 3 hour meeting,
I knew
right?
this was
Because we
gonna be a
had
long
Burger
one,
King.
but I didn't know this
Because
was-
we had Burger King.
Yeah.
I know. I got excited, but then I didn't.
Well, it's bittersweet.
Do we have to do this
So
minutes?
Barry shows up.
We're good, right?
We got minutes, we
Don't
can
be
do it on
talking.
the next meeting.
Well, I gave changes on
Oh,
We'll
one
see
set.
that
What do we
too.
have?
April 7th and April 16th.
We could make a whole bloopers reel of us anyway.
Do we have any idea what we're doing?
Want to do the minutes?
I didn't really look at them. If you want to.
Okay, if you don't want to do them, we'll do them next time. I'm easy.
I kept reading that decision before the meeting started, and I was pretty early, and I was still confused on what he was trying to say.
So there's nothing in the rules and regs about time limit on special
Can we
permits?
make a
No.
motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn, right? We're all
Second.
set?
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Gee, no opposals.